Welcome to the new Chess24 playing experience. Play in light mode or dark mode. Choose from a range of time controls or create a custom game. And get paired with players from around the world, fast. Enjoy a polished playing experience while making moves on a fresh, responsive board to claim your victories. Train and improve with over 80,000 puzzles. And that's not all. Download now and discover what more you can enjoy in our brand new app.
Okay, so let's send a challenge.
Here is challenging me. Nice graphics, easy to see. Oh, what are you thinking about? You're looking how it can be the most painful?
Exactly. Okay, fine.
So that I give up a phone. He wants to be even rude.
Today, more than ever, when the world comes together to create a better tomorrow.
It's going to be magic.
La magie. Magic. Magic with music.
With architecture.
With colors.
Magic with celebration.
With your safety.
From here.
There.
And everywhere.
For 6 whole months, day and night.
Join the making of a new world, starting October 1st.
Hello and welcome everybody here at the Deep Dive Studio at the World Expo 2020 in Dubai. I'm here at the Spanish pavilion. I was having time a little bit to go around. I visited some pavilions like Israeli. It was very optimistic, uplifting, but we're having a very, very tough day today. It's game 10 of the World Championship match. There are a lot of chess activities going on around the World Championship match. Actually, today they're still playing a very nice and interesting event organized by the United Arab Emirates Club. Over 2,600 players are competing just front of the fish tank, but they are going to be finishing right now, or they finished already. So there are professional players around here, amateurs, chess enthusiasts, and there are a lot of other chess activities going on. But we are going to deep dive together with Anish. Hi.
Hello, good to see you again. Looking forward to another beautiful day of chess.
Well, we had a very rough day today, yesterday. We've seen something very sad, I must say, what has happened to Jan. From game 6, something really nasty thing is happening with Jan. After that, round 7, it was okay, it was a draw, but then round 8 and 9, it was devastating. What do you think? What is the reason? Why is it happening to Jan that he's blundering in one game in game 8 and in game 9 brutally? Practically, he was blundering pawn, which cost him the game practically immediately. Yesterday, it was already a bishop after a free day. So what can cause these blackouts for him?
Yeah, it must always be combination of few factors. First of all, the energy. Rest day is not often not enough, and also on the rest day a lot of chess work is happening. The tension is still there. Even the rest activity that you choose can be quite exhausting. I don't know what he was doing. I heard from Karakin that they went on a boat. Sounds relaxing, but you know, one thing is to be on a boat, another to be on a boat and think about facing Magnus the next day. These are two different things. Besides the energy issue, still the psychology also is there. You know, it's very hard. And what I know is quite hard in terms of chess is when you are looking for an advantage when the advantage is not there, and then you start imagining advantage and do something reckless. So that's a combination of all that and a bit of bad luck also here and there.
Yes, we know that Magnus is extremely strong in his mind, his mindset. He can always be very patient. And I think we've seen Magnus being in a good mood, prepared extremely well. He's using his experience, what he gained over the years. And this is his 5th World Championship match. And he was struggling in the last two, right? Against Karyakin, he was like sweating really hard as he was the one who lost the first decisive games. After that, it was he equalized, and then only the playoff he was able to win. We see actually Nepomniachtchi arriving.
You know, with the mask on and the new haircut, it's very hard to tell for me the difference between Jan and Magnus. Like, they're relatively similar.
And Karyakin in a yellow sweatshirt, and it was Potkin, his friend and all-time coach. So going back in the match 2016 in New York, it was very difficult for Magnus. Then in 2018 against Fabiano, it was really difficult again. No decisive games. It was so much head-to-head. He was the #2 player in the world, Caruana. And then now, what could he expect before the match? He knew that Jan is a tough opponent. He knew him as they were friends, they were working together. At the same time, he also said it, as he's very honest and open about things. He said it that, well, Ding and Caruana would have been the strongest opponent, but of course, Jan is also somewhat a great challenger. But I think nobody...
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I thought you was finished there. I wanted to say that I think Magnus is quite clever with his interviews. He tries never to lie or deceive, but he chooses which truth to tell and when. So I think that that was a little psychological ploy there that he used because it was not pleasant for Jan to hear, and he does know it is maybe true, maybe it is true, but it makes it only more painful. And Magnus could have chosen not to say it, but he chose to say it and phrase it this way. And yeah, these are still clever little tricks from the world champion.
But I think it is there all the time. When you see world champions being interviewed and sharing their views, you never know how they give that, what their thoughts behind what they are saying, right? I mean, it is very clear that it's a psychological game as well, especially in the previous months of the preparation. And it's interesting that how they were preparing, because we don't get to know too much information and details, which opening they are looking for, how long, exactly who is the people, the persons in the team, whether we are talking about chess coaching, specifically some openings, cook, masseur or psychologist or family members. So we know very little about the surrounding, right? How do they get relax themselves during the period of the preparation? And of course, now we see them arriving, Magnus, usual scenario, they still stay in the car together with the
cameraman today is a little it's a little bit you know,
Peter
having a nap a little bit there. Cannot get himself straight.
Well, they probably still think that it will take a few minutes until he gets out.
Yeah, but you can still try to, you know, go back vertical.
How is it possible, you think, for Magnus to keep himself so calm, so focused? And moreover, what I think really, what I've seen him while we are having the cameras and see him, he's really in the presence. Like whenever he's looking the position, somehow I have the feeling that he's extremely focused and only busy with that specific position. Whether he made a mistake before or he has a winning position already, he's just sitting there and he's just curious about that specific position which is standing on the board.
Yeah, that's the right approach. And he's being the best player right now. in the world. He has mastered that better than anybody else. At the same time, I should say that so far he haven't had any major setbacks, and you really start challenging that mindset once things really get out of hand. You lose a real big winning opportunity, or something goes really wrong, and that's where the thoughts start creeping in. So far he hasn't had that in the match. So far the match has been going relatively smoothly for him, and he's able to maintain that complete composure, and yeah, he's looking in a perfect shape to clinch the title again.
Well, it's always a question what we were talking a little bit, that how the players are preparing. And because we are going into some strange scenario of the match, I think. I mean, seeing that Jan really went down in the last few days with energy, psychologically, he doesn't understand himself how he's going to recover. Obviously, he's losing his self-confidence. At this stage, when you make such a blunders, you also think that, oh my God, I'm afraid of myself. Even if I will have a normal position, I will blunder. What am I going to be blundering today? Because this is something not normal, right?
Yeah, it's a very bad, of course, very bad situation where you start second-guessing yourself. That shouldn't be there, shouldn't happen.
So while people, the photographers and the media is gathering together already in the fish tank, I brought you to our audience who is already watching and wants to be seeing game 10. I want to show you one beautiful study, chess composition. I will bring it on the screen. And I want to show you, I made a mistake because I showed Anish just a few minutes before we came on air, and I think he has already the solution. I just love compositions. I think it is part of the preparation of every very strong grandmaster, because it polishes very much your understanding of the details, and it also improves a lot your defensive skills as well, and to be very precise. So this study was made by Mario Mateos from 1975, and I have to say that this is move 2 because the action starts here. So I want to show, obviously, if someone is watching later on, then I would suggest you to pause the video and think about it, because if you would be solving this, I think it's a great satisfaction. I see in the meantime, Peter Heine Nielsen and Magnus got out of the car, and the friend Magnus, the fashion and music expert, they're coming. They're just entering to the exhibition center and heading to the playing area. They have a backstage door there. So we go back to the study, and the first move with white.
Chad found it. Chad found the bishop c7.
Okay, so bishop c7, there is no other way for black than capturing the queen, and white goes g takes f7. Now there are two moves, right? King f8, bishop d6. Okay, this is clear. We've seen this one. But black goes king and h8. And now you think bishop e5, and my next move is either king g5 or king e7, threatening with checkmate.
Yeah, and h5 always met by king g6 is an important motif in this position.
Yes, so the king cannot be going out anywhere. So instead of h5, black has a nice move, playing queen c5, still covering the square f8, and at the same time attacking the bishop. So if the white king would be moving out, black is just capturing the bishops. It's very clear that you have to move away your bishop to save it, right? So white goes all the way back to b2.
Or you would think to a1. At first, you wouldn't see the difference there.
Yeah, we'll figure out what is the difference. The threat is the only move, mating move. The idea is king e6. So what is black's move? The only move for black, it's knight c7. And you might think that it was so nice. It was such a nice idea to give a mate without the queen and an extra pawn. It doesn't work. And this is why I think that top chess players are liking and also improving their chess with the compositions. Because in the game also, there are many occasions when you think you either stop calculating or somehow you have the intuition that you go on just one more move. And this is exactly a situation, I think, when you might be saying that it doesn't work. It would have been so nice. But as this is a composition, it is winning because white is going bishop a1, and we have to realize it that black is in zugzwang position. And even though black has an extra queen, extra pawn is going to be losing because after a4, bishop b2, no better than a3, bishop a1, a2, bishop b2, and it's all the time, every move is a mutual zugzwang. So if it would be white to move, it's not.
Yeah, with the pawn on a3, the bishop would have been on a1, and you wouldn't have had a bishop b2 move. So it's quite nice that the bishop and the pawn, they kind of work in sync there, and that's why bishop b2 first, not bishop a1, because then this whole clockwork wouldn't be working. Very
so
nice.
In this position, black is in zugzwang, no more pawn, no more moves, and whatever black is going to be moving, if let's say gives a check, then king e6 is the only move. Still, you can go wrong going out and then knight c3 check, but you go king e6, and after knight c3, bishop c3, queen c3, f8 mate. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope, Anish, you enjoyed it also.
Yeah, I was solving it. I was really thrilled to find it. Fortunately, I found it pretty quickly. The first two moves were easy, and then after queen c5, I didn't understand why both don't win, and then I noticed knight c7 at some point, because I didn't see knight c7. It was not an easy move. So after queen c5, bishop a1, let's say I thought, and then I looked for a queen move, and whatever the queen move you made, I always had a mate. So then I thought, okay, what's the defense? And then I found knight c7, and I realized, oh, and then I realized that bishop a1, a4, and then I realized I need to know where the bishop goes. So it's kind of nice, yeah, very, very nice study. I really like that.
Okay, so I will come up with others for you, Anish.
Yeah, I really
More
like
difficult
those,
one.
the pretty ones, the endgame studies, yeah.
Okay, so this was only a little spice to today's beginning of the commentary, and also that we will have to see something special today, because first of all, the big question is what Magnus will start the game. I'm afraid he's going to be starting with e4. And after e4, what will happen with Jan? What is his mindset? Can he play the Petrov?
Yeah, one thing is that I remember when Magnus was in a must draw with me a couple of times. Only once he failed. Only once in this online matches I beat him on demand. But the subsequent times he likes to surprise you with the first one. So when you kind of expect e4, he likes to go d4, because it is true that it's very hard to make up your mind for either of the two moves. But usually when you are in a must win, must win pretty much, you are thinking more about one than the other. So Jan is, let's say, mostly thinking about e4 for the entire day since yesterday. And now d4 kind of makes sense to surprise him. At the same time, I think Magnus is already prepared for the previous game, where he was also remember, having approach of being very solid. So he prepared for all these Frenches, the Nidors already in the 2 rounds ago. So in that sense, e4 is kind of much easier for him. And he didn't have rest day. So I think Magnus will just go e4 just to stick to what he planned. And Jan, we'll see. You know, I wouldn't be shocked to see Petrov again, actually.
You think it might be Petrov again?
Might be. Yeah, I was thinking about it very long yesterday evening, and I've come to realization that Jan should play Petrov and be solid today.
I don't know. It's a good question. I mean, how can Jan think and his team? You're -3. There is 5 games to go in this match, which means that you have to win 3 and 2 draws.
Exactly. One of the thing is you need to win a black game anyway, but I think this is not the one. I think in a way, given all the circumstances, I think it's clever to. Well, he has basically 0.1% chance of winning the match. I think something like that. There is some kind of statistical model that counted that. Sergey with his shades. Look at him. He looks ridiculous.
Yeah, this
guy looks totally ridiculous. He looks like some kind of Russian pop star. Some boy from boy band. So bad. He looks like a parody of a Russian pop star. With the shades.
I think he's helping Jan. He was going away back to Moscow, and then he just, I think, a day or 2 before he came back.
But people can hear him, right? It was just us that can't hear him.
points. But I hope the luck will come and Jan will win something.
You had a tweet yesterday with just one word which said insane. And that kind of summed up your reaction to what we were seeing with the move c5?
Yes, because I know Jan. We all know him, how good he is, and I know that even in Blitz he will not play such move. So I believe it's not only about chess, but it's also some other things, maybe psychological things, maybe something else he should answer himself.
And Sergey, now Magnus mentioned that what happened in game 6 perhaps has a big role to play the way the match has shaped up. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I totally agree, because in the first part of the match, Magnus didn't get any advantage with white. He was clearly, he didn't know what to do, and in game 6 he was even worse at some point, and if Jan would take that pawn on b4, Magnus had to work for a draw very, very hardly, and I'm not sure that he would escape that position, and the match will be totally different. And with this luck, the match changed very much, and somehow Jan didn't manage to recover, or maybe something else.
Yeah, very interesting. Now, Sergey, you've been the only challenger who actually took the lead in the World Championship match against Magnus. Being part of Jan's team and with that experience, what was it that you brought to the team, or your contribution? What can you tell us about that?
Well, I tried to share my experience, but also you should understand that we have different style of playing, and Jan likes very dynamic positions, and Magnus and probably me at some point, we are more positional, let's say, players. So it was just impossible to force Jan to play the chess which doesn't suit him. So he tried to be himself, but at some key moments it didn't work. And of course, in the game 6, he could take on f6 with a queen and just make a quick draw, or in the game in Petrov, after queen e1, he could play queen e7 and make a fast draw. Or yesterday he could make a fast draw, but I mean, I don't know. Somehow it's very unnecessary and disappointing.
The World Championship matches have this different dynamic. Magnus has mentioned himself that the pressure and the tension is so high. You've of course experienced it. Do you think that has a big role to play with these mistakes?
Yes, for sure, because it's a first match for Jan and it's a 5th match for Magnus, so he is much more experienced on this type of chess, of tournaments. So for Jan it was more difficult, and I know from my experience that when it's just two players, everyone is watching, everyone is looking at you very, very deeply, so it's more difficult.
And going,
We see now already.
Game begins.
The first move, and who makes the first move? She's a Formula One race driver, Amna Al-Kubaisi, first Emirate female racer and driver. I just met her before the game, and she started to race when she was 13, and her big next competition is going to be in January. Let's see how it all started. E4, E5.
Let's see if Jan has come to the same conclusion as I did, that the Petrov is the way to go. But I was thinking long about it. Yeah, I was serious. I just sat there and I thought for a few minutes. Yeah, no, very, very nice. They came to the same conclusion. This is the best way to do. Best way to go now. So there is a miracle scenario in which Jan comes back in this match, and that scenario begins with a draw today. A draw today, win in the next game, then win in the next other white game, and then last round with the black pieces, another win. This is Jan's path.
Well, we'll see how he's going to be ready to play today, when there is a chance again to go interesting, not straightforward to the draw. Is he going to be very clear on having the draw, or he will be just making some not even dubious moves, because what he did in game 8, I mean, when he played king f8 instead of queen e7, it was not even a really bad move, I think. It was just unnecessary.
But now the mindset is different. Now Jan's mindset is to make a draw, I think.
To stop this awful happenings.
Yeah, let's just get it over with. Yeah, just make the draw.
Do you think Magnus is surprised on his choice?
Yeah, but he shouldn't have been. He shouldn't have been. He should have thought like I thought and try to understand what's going on. I suspect he did prepare something still. But to be that surprised, yeah, that is a bit strange. I mean, honestly, okay, I spent a couple of minutes thinking, but he should also spend those minutes. It's strange he didn't anticipate that. It was one of the scenarios, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm curious if is it going to be the same? What was it? Knight e5, right? Or d4?
Yeah, there are various
now we see
various ways of playing it safe, but Magnus hasn't prepared one, it seems.
D6,
let's see which one he chooses.
3. Because of course it's not easy to play for a win the Petrov, right? The question is always, and of course Magnus's great strategy should be and dream to have a little better position or a drawish position which he can just maneuver here and there, keep the game, and let the game be unfolded, even if it's very solid. What actually he did in the previous white game when he played game 8. Is he really thinking about playing knight c4? Or
I think he played in this position against Caruana the other knight moves, yeah, knight c4, knight d3. That's very similar, these two moves. I think it was knight. I think he was going for d3, but these two are very similar.
I never played knight d3. I think I don't know if I played the knight c4 myself. Of course, knight f3 is the main move.
Yeah, it's strange. Strange
knight
there. What
d3
Magnus
on
is
the
doing.
board.
Knight d3, yeah.
So how does it go? Knight e4, knight c3.
Queen e2 first, I think.
Or queen e2 first, and knight f4, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Magnus, he doesn't want to let Jan off the hook that easily. He wants to play a game today because he understands that if he doesn't play a game today, he still has to play a game after the rest day with the black pieces. So he shouldn't. He just shouldn't get out of the rhythm. He should just keep playing chess. And I suspect he prepared this a little bit, and maybe it's a bit of an act now as well on his part. It would be strange if he hadn't thought of Petrov at all. I think he's maybe also acting a little bit, taking some time.
Yeah, but actually he was not spending too much time, right? He spent like 4 minutes up to now. I think it happens many times that, well, you're prepared e5, c5, whatever, seeing the match situation, and then e5, and then you calm down, you say, okay, so now it's only the Petrov you have to be focusing. Because this is many times I had it, that, so I want our audience to understand it, how it is for a player to prepare. First of all, you prepare months, right? And then before the game, what do? You go and you say, okay, he can play e5, c5. Okay, in c5, you have to look the Najdorf, you have to look the dragon, you have to look this. But sometimes he's playing that too. So you're just going through in your notes, then you're, he can play e5 with the Petrov. Okay, so it can be like 4 different kind of openings, right? You make all your preparation, 2-3 hours. I think many people are looking just few hours before the game. You go to the game. The good news is that you have to face only one out of those openings which you thought you have some problems or issues. And then it comes on the board, e5, and then you think, okay, so everything else I can let it go from my mind, right? And only focus on this structure and this system.
Knight f6 back. Wow, interesting. The more accurate, supposedly, approach is knight c6. And then the idea is knight d5, knight d4.
d4.
and you get these massive exchanges in these positions. Yeah, knight comes back to d5, knight comes back to d4, and so on and so forth.
And after bishop d3, what happens?
I suspect knight c5 is the point.
And
I suspect knight c5 is the point. Yeah. But knight f6 back is very valid. But then you get this position after, let's say, d4, queen e2, bishop e2, where white is arguably maybe slightly better, maybe not. But again, Jan should not start playing this position for a win. I guess he will not. But Magnus is trying to tempt him always. You know, he gives him that little room to play. He on purpose gives him a little room to play. He could try to kill Magnus could try to kill the game, but he gives Jan that room because he wants these little odds of winning. He wants to keep them.
Well, this is also something that VChess players experience, that when you play in a strong tournament, and okay, this is a match, but from this point of view, I think it's more or less the same. You're in bad form, don't worry, you can make sure that the next opponent who you're playing, he wants to take advantage of the fact that you're in bad form, and then he wants to push it and give you the chance to continue your blunders and your bad decisions. So I think this is also the case here, that Magnus is not sorry for Jan. He knows it in some ways that, okay, after the match he will be, but right now he just wants to win the next two games, finish the match, and then think about it. No, of course.
I'm not sure he will be sorry ever about this.
No, but in the press conference, for example, he expressed that, of course, it's a much bigger satisfaction to win a good game than winning something that it was not expected. Obviously, he would never, ever even dream about it, that Jan would make such a blunder, what he did in the previous two games.
By the way, I'm looking at the position now, and I think that you should take on e2 first and then knight c6, because after knight c6, there is a bishop e3 possibility, which was never before there, keeping the queens on the board, intending knight c3 long castle very quickly. Is that part of Jan's plan, or is it what is more likely another little hasty decision that could backfire really badly?
Maybe he also wants to provoke.
Yeah, but he's been doing it for the past few days. That clearly that doesn't work. Let's stop provoking. Let's just stop doing that. Provoking is not.
But if he's well prepared, and let's say after bishop e3.
Yeah, let me. I will take a good look now with some good tools and check if that could be preparation or not. But I am very suspicious that it's not a preparation. It's just another one of those sloppy moments.
It has to be. Come on. If you play the Petrov, it's move 7. It has to be preparation knight c6 for him. He also spent only 2 minutes up to now.
Yeah, but that's not a given. Let me just check what the. Yeah, it could be. It could be.
I don't know how many games were there on knight c6, and really how.
It could still be. No, knight c6 is a novelty.
It is a novelty.
Yeah, it could be. Let me check something else. Yeah, it's hard to say right now, but it's a big actually decision for Magnus now to take, because bishop e3, that means game on. That's a very sharp position suddenly, very sharp position. While you don't have
queen e7, I'm not sure Magnus will do something like that.
Yeah, but queen e7, now you get a better version as black. You take with a knight. You probably can go g6, bishop g7, and you haven't taken on e2 with the queen, so you haven't developed the f1 bishop.
Exactly.
So it's really bishop e3 or not bishop e3. There's just no other way.
This is the question.
Yeah, it's really bishop e3 or not. Could be if it's prep.
Well, this is an interesting moment already.
Maybe it's over the board bluff. Maybe it's prep. Maybe
no,
it's prep bluff.
It has to be a prep. It cannot be just bluffing out after 2 minutes. At this point, I think it's not possible.
I think it's again the same thing, that it reminds me, I've worked with a person like that as well once. You have one mindset before the game, and once you sit there, once the clock starts, you see your opponent Yeah, just the wheels come off. It just happened before. So, I mean, he played the Petrov clearly to be solid, yeah, not to go for a crazy sharp position. So I don't know. I don't think knight c6 is part of the plan, but we'll see.
Yeah, but you have to see that. I mean, queen e7. It's psychologically it's a disadvantage to play this with.
Well, I suspect if you don't, you probably play c3. Yeah, queen e7 is a bit too much. You probably play c3, but after c3, okay, already g5, g6 are possibilities.
Yeah, bishop to f5.
Especially g5 is nice. Queen e7, knight e7.
I like g5 a lot.
Yeah. No, bishop e3 is actually interesting. Now you have that would actually be fun. After
But
bishop
also
e3,
g5.
yeah, g5 as well. Knight d3.
I don't know, h6. I can go to knight d5. What do you think about that?
There are some sacrifices. Yeah, I take it.
It's not a sacrifice because takes a knight d4.
No, knight d5 is knight c3. Knight d5. But I mean, there are sacrifices instead of knight d5. Quite interesting. I really hope Magnus will play bishop e3 and we get a very interesting game going. Really hope that. But I understand Magnus's desire to not do that. Actually, knight c6 should maybe have also been part of the preparation for Magnus, but it could also be not, because it's just supposed to be inaccurate. It's never been played before because of bishop e3. It's just supposed to be a wrong move for black.
So knight c6. So I hope that bishop e3 will be interesting game, very sharp game after that. I think it can be a really sharp game, even though it's symmetric.
I'm pretty sure, by the way, it's not really a prep, because g5, knight d3, I'm not sure what's the reply. And if you go, you can go bishop f5 after bishop e3. And now there are some interesting lines. So there's queen b5, for example, d5, queen b7, queen b4, take, knight takes, knight a3. Looks slightly better for white in the end. There are some interesting lines also after 8g5, knight d3, and then some kind of pawn sack.
You mean here instead of bishop f5?
Yeah, g5, knight d3, bishop g4, f3, bishop f5, bishop g5, long castle.
Wow.
Queen e7, bishop e7, c3, rook h g8. Some
well,
black is so well developed.
This is definitely Jan's piece of bread.
Could be interesting, but actually, objectively speaking,
and what
white
is this? H4, h6?
H4, even knight h5 is possible,
Knight
and then
h5.
g4, knight g3. Yeah. Instead of h4, the best move is probably just go back. Actually, the best move is maybe bishop c1 back.
Bishop c1?
Okay, any other square, but on c1 is pretty good actually. So you want to play
Wow.
knight e4, so you have to take on d3, take on g2, and I just play king f1, kick the rook away, and keep the bishop pair. So I don't quite see what Jan could have prepared here. Yeah, I think it's a mix-up / over the board. Because the line is really d4, queen e2, bishop e2, knight c6. That's the line, and that's been played. That's also what computer says. And knight c6 first. Yeah, that's.
So basically, you want to say that the only drawback can be of knight c6 that white is playing bishop e3.
It's
But
yeah, and it's the kind of drawback that white really has to do, because if white doesn't go bishop e3, then black gets a better version of queen takes e2, bishop to knight c6, because black goes in g5 next move. So it's really it's like, you know, it's not that you can transpose back into your prep as Magnus. No, you kind of have to go bishop e3. Otherwise, black gets a very comfortable endgame. So it's a very nice test to Magnus now. In any normal game, he would go bishop e3. He would figure out very quickly that black played the dubious move order. But in this game, when he wanted to be safe, it's not so easy to change the mindset for the game. And, you know, and suddenly start the fight, not knowing and also suspecting and being afraid that the opponent is in book. Although he knows Jan, he knows that Jan could also improvise this. At this point, the wheels have long come off, and it's just very, very random.
But this is interesting, like psychologically, it's not a very comfortable situation for Magnus, I think, this position. Because on one hand, you want to play a solid without queens, you're trying here, trying there. Or you have to say, yeah, but okay, if I take on e7, it's like giving up a few tempes. It's like you can't do that. So objectively, if I have to play bishop e3, but okay, I didn't want to make sharpen out things, right? And anyway, what kind of opening preparation Jan can have? So it's a huge dilemma, and it seems like he's pulled into it.
Yeah, it's. I'm curious if Magnus understands the depth of this position, if he has studied it in great detail or was very superficial. If he just saw a queen trade, 1963, or if he actually understands the nuances already, that how crucial is it to go bishop e3 if you want to fight for advantage. I don't know if he knows, maybe he even knows that, but is a bit afraid of Jan's prep. Magnus is actually very often cautious about opponent's preparation, because that's one part of the game where he's facing not a 2700 opponent, but a 3700 rated opponent. So Magnus, he still fears the computer, at least for now. So in that sense, he's always very cautious. He doesn't like being under prep, and he really tries to play things safe when prep is approaching his way. But here, playing safe is also a concession. So I think he's a bit torn, and he's thinking, weighing his options.
He's already thought in this game 16 minutes, and I have the feeling that he will still spend some time thinking on which decision is he ready to make. Because it's strange to say, but it's at move 8, we have a crucial moment of the game already. The first very important moment. What do you think, sure, Anish? How many critical moments an average game has?
Wow, it's a good question. Yeah, it's it really depends on the game. You've got these games where it's every move critical moment. You've got those. You've got also a game where there is a one critical moment. So there's some opening, there's a chance, a big one, big opportunity, and then if you choose the safe path, there is no more critical moments after that. So yeah, okay, I mean, so you sometimes there are zero critical moments, but usually there is one that you choose the wrong way, and then there is no more. But this game depends on now, yeah.
Okay, so I'm asking you, we know game 6, and I think many of our viewers were following game 6, which was 136 moves. It was not short, and it took nearly 8 hours. How many, can you recall how many important and crucial point was in that game? Because I think probably that game had quite a few.
Yeah, probably something, depending on how you count and like how you define a crucial moment, probably something between like 6 and 10, I guess.
But I think this is something very extreme. In a normal game, you have maybe 3, which is really crucial moment. You think more?
More than 3 in that game?
No, in average.
On average.
Not on average, but in a regular game, let's say game 3, game 2, for example. Game 2 was also somewhat sharp.
Yeah, in game 2, there were, yeah, I think in a game like that, you have in between like 6 and 10 critical moments, mm-hmm. I think. I feel like that, at least.
What do you think about Magnus? Does he always feel the critical moments? Is it his advantage also compared to the challenger or the other top players out there?
Yeah, the best per player. Magnus is one player, who pays a lot of attention to that. Kasparov, of course, was all about critical moments. And in the past, they were paying more attention to that because the game was slower. They could afford to spend more time. But Magnus, from this generation of players, is definitely one who has very good sense of critical moments. Fabiano is also definitely one such player. Yeah, I'm trying to, but sometimes I skip an important moment.
So Anish, I want to try to put in frame that how someone can distinguish important critical moment from non-critical moment. What are the trademarks of a critical moment?
I think that well, not a critical moment is when you've got a bunch of options and they all are in some way similar, and the importance of a decision at that point is not very high. Yeah. So whatever you make, so as long as, let's say, the queens get traded, so let's play queen e7 now. knight e7, c3, and let's say, I don't know, let's go g6 just for argument's sake. Yeah, this is not a critical moment. You can play bishop e2 or bishop d3 or knight a3 or f3 first, or maybe a4 first.
Okay, so this is not a critical moment.
Exactly. While on move 8 now it's critical because you have two really different directions. You can either trade queens, which goes for safe game, or you can keep the queens on the board, which makes it a very crazy position, because now that the queens are on the board, both queen on e2 and queen on e7 are misplaced. Kings are likely to castle long, and if kings castle long, there are all kinds of weird dynamic ideas. Suddenly d5 is there, d5 push for white, and then a7 pawn is hanging, because long castles are always half incomplete. The short castles brings the king one move closer to the edge of the board, protecting that h7 pawn. Here in the long castle, you still need king b8 to have the king fully guarded. So you've got that. By the way, producer pointed out a very interesting abnormality today, and that's indeed something to think about. A message that Magnus is trying to send. He came for the white game with a black jacket. There are two options. So one is that there is a deep psychological message, and the other is that he stained his white jacket by accident, and they're not in time to wash it. So I don't know.
Maybe this is a sign that he's not focused 100%. He mixed up his opening preparation by taking the dark suit.
Either he mixed up the prep, or the jacket is in the wash, or he tried to send a message to Jan that today is not a game where I want to win. Normally I want to win with white. Today I'm playing with white like I'm playing with black, not for a win. I don't know.
But we have another message also, that to our viewers, everybody who is listening, we go 50% off on premium membership. The code is Go Petrov.
Yeah, 50% is apt for that particular code. I have to say, by the way, that so as I've studied left computer study this position a bit deeper after bishop e3, bishop f5 seems to be the way to go. And now after queen b5, d5, that position, it seems to be okay for black after d5, queen b7, queen b4.
But this is something you have to have preparation. I mean, Jan cannot just come here and just give up pawns. I have compensation and something will happen.
Yeah, it could be a very nice improv, but it could also be an option that he has prepared. Not maybe his main line of defense, but he's maybe seen that line in his prep. And maybe he thought that, okay, for this game, it's a good option, and he threw it out very quickly.
So your advice is so good, knight a3.
Yeah, and actually bishop takes c2, the line kind of goes on. If you go rook c1, I can play bishop to f5.
But I think this you cannot play with black without preparation. If you have to calculate everything at the board, I mean...
Yeah, no,
like
Jan could have blunt. Yeah, he just thought knight c6, c3, queen e2, and he just didn't realize that it's queen e2 first. That could be there, but it could also be that this is something that he prepared.
Another strange situation is happening. Jan is at the board.
Yeah, Jan is at the
Players
board.
start to behave very strangely already.
Better late than never, as they say, and. Yeah, it's kind of late for for a miracle, really. But yeah, I think Jan wants to show the level he's capable of. He wants to show everyone that he can play well, and he just wants to finish the last few games with that message in mind for Magnus and for other people, that okay, there was something happened, something was off in these games, but he will be back later in some other, in the other cycle, in the next cycle, he will be back again. And now he wants to show the kind of level he's capable of playing.
Well, probably the only way he can somehow play well, that he thinks that, okay, the first 9 games didn't exist. No, it's not. Now it's a new match, and I have to go from restart. Because if you think about what had happened in this match, you just cannot have any positive thought about it, right? He just has to go, okay, now...
He went c3, he went c3.
He went c3. Yeah, he didn't dare to play bishop e3. He didn't dare.
Yeah, he
right.
didn't dare because of the prep. He hates facing prep. He totally hates it. and that's why he went c3. He's not worse or anything. He just give black a very, very comfortable version of things now. After g5, queen e7, knight e7, black's got a couple extra tempi compared to the usual position.
But g5 is a cool move.
Yeah, it's not the only move at all, but it's a nice move. g6 also is good here, I guess.
But black is doing fine. Black is doing very fine here. Don't you think so?
Yeah, it's just not more than that at this point in time. But the g5 is in particular is a nice resource.
So we are over the first critical decision, what was made by Magnus, right? So this was a crucial moment, queen e3, bishop e3 or c3 or queen e7. So Magnus decided to go on the safest road by playing c3.
Actually, bishop e3 was kind of not that dangerous, but of course you have to know, you have to know like what lines are rising there. Without knowing them, it's hard to tell. c3, there is of course potential for black to get to outplay white. Let's say go g5, queen e7, knight e7.
Then d5 instantly without hesitation.
Yeah, he mixed up. Okay, Jan, okay, now we understand what happened. Jan, he just mixed up. The line goes queen e2, bishop e2, knight c6, c3, d5. Jan just mixed up his prep. It's not prep. So I would say this is a theoretical variation with the inclusion of queen e2, bishop. Jan he just mixed up. Yeah.
You think so?
No. Yeah, for sure.
But
if
why?
Because if knight c6 is prep, then the only point of it is to provoke c3 and then no g5. G5 is the best move, and it's the kind of move you also make if you know it's the best move.
Well, apart from that, even if he wouldn't have prep, it's his style to play g5.
Yeah, but the fact that he plays quickly d5, it shows that he thinks he is in prep. And I tell you, I know where d5 is from. d5 is from d4, move 7, queen takes e2, bishop takes e2, knight c6, c3, and now d5. This is a known theoretical line, and this is how black can play to equalize. And Jan thinks that he's following his prep, but he forgot that this is without the inclusion of queen e2 because of bishop e3, that Magnus actually chose not to play. So that's why he's playing fast. He's just, he believes he's in prep, but he's not.
But don't you think that after bishop e3, still g5 is an interesting continuation?
Bishop e3 here makes very little sense because you, by playing c3, you've taken away a square from the knight. So bishop e3 is now very bad. After d5, yeah, white has to make one of these, probably not take on e7 because that would kind of, the one who blinks first loses the tempo, yeah? Black gets to develop with the tempo.
Well, probably he can just develop knight d2.
Yeah, the knight to d2 or to a3, sometimes h4, f3 they play also. To take
already
on some
here,
squares.
you think?
Yeah, h4 is a very common idea, yeah. Anyway, you enter endgame and then you want to have this.
So h4 is more of a prophylactical move against g5 or?
h4, f3, yeah, h4, f3 is very harmonious. You dominate the f6 knight and you secure the f4 knight. You gain space on the king side as well. So h4, f3 is in general a plan when you've got this knight on f4 against knight on f6, right? You dominate that f6 knight, like in the Italian, but then knight d2 also, yeah. Knight d2 is played.
No, I think Magnus will be extremely solid.
Yeah, of course.
Rock solid in this game.
Yeah, the point of going h4 first is that you keep the option of knight a3 sometimes. So that was a tad more challenging. But
no,
knight d2 is
he's
also,
not going to play. He's going to play
very
knight
solid.
d2, knight d3 possibly, exchange queens, then knight f3, knight e5. Very, very solid. Waiting Jan to.
Yeah, he wants to bore Jan to death, but I think today Jan is ready to be bored to death, and Jan wants to show today that he can make a draw like that. You know, he wants to show that okay, he didn't do it in the last two games, but if he wants to, he can. That's what he wants to show, and then he will say afterwards that okay, look, what happens if I don't want to win? Nothing happens. I could do it every day. This is the kind of message he wants to send.
Magnus has spent already 27 minutes, while Jan only 4.5 minutes. And practically this is the first time when he really started to think.
Yeah, because you kind of notice it at some point that, okay, it's slightly different than his prep, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, you take on e2 and it transposes all back into the same line.
So how does it go? Queen e2, bishop e2.
Yeah, the idea usually of the knight on c6 is very often to go knight d8, knight e6, and then c6, because knight on c6 is badly placed. You want to kind of rearrange it and trade it off. But bishop d6 first, of course, is a very, very fine move, maybe even more natural. And then maybe even knight e7. And
yes, that's what I was thinking, that maybe knight e7 is a well-placed knight over
No,
there.
it's very comfortable for black. There's nothing to talk about here. I don't think there is any reason for black to... The only small reason for concern, not concern, but like potential why black could ever be slightly worse is the knight on f6. After f3, it gets a bit dominated by the pawn, yeah? A little bit. So that is the bad knight. Knight from c6 will reroute, but knight from f6 is a slightly bad knight, but it's not serious.
Well, let's see if black is going to be taking on e2, or can he do something else?
Yeah, you can play knight d8 first, yeah.
What if g5? And just to go bishop. So I keep the queen. I don't want to give up the tension. I give you the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, this was an option, but Jan has already played knight d8. I think he sort of follows his fake prep.
So it's like,
yeah.
we see these two queens on the e file, and none of them is like, who is going to be giving up the tension? Who is queen e7, or are you gonna be? Well, they keep this psychological game.
Yes.
So let's say after knight f3, black goes simply knight e6.
I'm not sure if you want your
I'm
knight
not
on
sure.
f3, because you really have that possibility of having a pawn on f3 at some point, right, as well, to cut out that
And your
knight.
knight, you want to go to b3, or what are you going to do with
Maybe
your knight?
f1 at some point, and then e3, g3, maybe that kind of maneuver. I mean, of course, nothing wrong with knight f3 either, yeah. Knight f3 you can play. Knight f3, probably you trade queens at some point, yeah, with black.
Well, the question is who is going to be trading queens, because maybe now black wants to go knight e6.
Oh, yes, and then castle long. True, maybe
And
white
let's
should
say,
also.
that's why I wanted to go knight f3. So you go knight e6. I can go knight e5, and possibly after that to go f3.
Yeah, that's
And maybe
very,
my knight
very...
one day could go back to d3 if it's very necessary, replacing my knight, because that will be exchanged.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Not sure about knight e6 for black. It's a big question if I want that knight on f6.
So would you?
So what about taking on e2?
Finally, you give up.
Yeah, what
You
about
give
that?
up the tension. Bishop e2.
Yeah, and maybe now knight e6. Yeah, you definitely very sensible to send the knight to e5. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Sometimes, probably not here because bishop b5 is there, but sometimes c5 is an idea for black to try to. Of course, you weaken your d5 pawn, but you try to activate your pieces very quickly. But
yeah,
now
but here
bishop
it's,
b5 is maybe there.
yeah, all kind of checks. Yeah.
Yeah, so c5 is not knight e5. So you want to go bishop d6, I suspect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not so much.
But okay, this is quite okay, right? I mean, f3 can be played, or
yeah, you
I'm not
probably
sure
you
what
can
is
take
this?
on. Yeah,
What
I don't
is
know if you
this?
want that.
And if I want to push my pawns,
But
and
usually
then
they say
I-
knights to protect each other, not ideal, yeah, because they.
I know only one of them can be there, right? In
Yeah.
the
So
output.
one other idea is to take on e6, go bishop f4, and go knight d3, and trade the dark squared bishops, and get this. I mean, minutely better bishop, but it's of course nothing. But that's kind of the standard way of
But
playing.
Magnus will love this position.
Yeah, he wants to play like that.
He's gonna
We'll
go
see.
f3, king d2, knight d3.
Maybe black can go bishop f5 to stop that a little bit. And then h5, reinforce the bishop on f5. Yeah, very honestly speaking, not a very exciting battle. And I think in this game, it's happening what should have happened 2 days ago. Well, both sides should have been content with a draw there. But yeah, Jan, he needed to, I mean, he needed to fall lower to realize that sometimes draw is just
Yes.
okay. Now is actually too late, but okay, it's never too late.
I don't think that Magnus will capture on e7. I think he just doesn't want to give up. Because actually it is possible that it makes sense also to take, and then knight f3 heading to e5. Because
But
maybe black will-
that's what we just seen, but with the tempo down for white, yeah? It seems very unlikely. That
yeah,
he'll do
but
that.
you're going to play bishop d6 probably anyway.
But still you are losing a tempo with white. Your bishop is on f1 compared to bishop on e2, right?
e2, yes.
I mean, it's just a tempo. I don't know. Yeah, okay. But we never looked at queen e7. I don't think the white will take on e7 now.
Yeah, but if you go knight f3, probably black goes not queen e2.
But then if knight e5?
Knight e5. What about takes and bishop
Well, I'm
f5?
very happy about taking, because then I also get to take.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
bishop
not
f5.
nice to make you develop. Sorry?
Yeah, long castle, I guess.
Yeah, I go to long castle as well. Then I go queen e6 maybe.
Yeah, I don't think white has anything here.
Well, the only thing is that the queens are on the board, right?
Yeah, at the same time, I don't know if, of course, there's diagonal is a little bit annoying, bishop on f5. It's cutting through the deck, but at some point I can trade it with the bishop d3 move, yeah? So I was thinking here either to right away go, yeah, something like this.
Probably.
Or send the queen to b5 at some point, but maybe, yeah, start with g4.
So instead of queen e7, knight f3, what else is there to play?
Yeah, interesting.
And it's interesting that the last few days, Magnus was spending clearly more time than in previous games and also than Jan.
Magnus is also tired, which kind of shows in his time spending. Because he needs more time to probably reach same kind of conclusions that he reaches when he's in good shape and less tired. And he gets very tired after the games. But he was able so far to not let tiredness influence the quality of his moves. And there is a, yeah, there is something.
It seems now when we have the camera close up from the players that Magnus is more tired. Probably he starts feeling the pressure that, okay, this has to be already over, right? This match. And probably Nepo also thinks that, well, the best thing he can do is to stay calm and try to focus only each game to that specific game. He cannot do anything more than that.
Yeah.
And it's only move 10. And knight f3 is on the board. So is queen e2 gonna be on the board or knight e6 or something else?
And if she played, yeah?
Knight f3, queen e2. We have queen e2 on the board.
Jan, I think, wants to show also how easily it is, how easily he can make a draw.
It's just a draw.
He wants to show like how easy it is, how little time he needs for that, how little effort, just so that everybody sees, you know, that if he wants
this
to draw,
is what it would be, right?
champions.
Game 6. If I don't want to win, if I just exchange the queens on f6, it's just simplifying. But I made the mistake that I wanted more.
Yeah, yeah. Today there is no more. He has suppressed that desire. The desire. He suppressed that in him, and for the better. And now we have what I thought we would have a couple of days ago. We have two players who don't want to win, playing a game.
Yeah, it's hard to make a decisive game if both players.
Exactly.
So after bishop d6, he did not go knight e6, he went bishop d6 immediately. Let's say white goes knight e5. What is after that Black's idea? Is he going to be possibly playing King E7, Rook E8, and King F8?
Don't I have a right to castle, by the way, still?
But do you want to castle?
But it's definitely, I mean, I can go castle, Rook E8, King F8. That leads to the same position
That's
with
true.
same number of moves, but I don't need King F8. So castle kind of faster. I think with so many pieces on the board, you still want your king castled. You want to exploit the e file, use the e file for the rook, and not really have the king in the way there, I guess.
Yeah. So after bishop d6, knight e5 is one of a logical continuation. Also knight d3 is possible, but somehow I want to go away with my knight from f3.
Yeah, that's why. That's why I said that you want the pawn on f3. But at the same time, knight on f3, it can always reroute itself via e5, perhaps. So that's there.
The players cannot agree to a draw before move 40. They cannot offer a draw. The only way for them to make a draw as a result under move 40, if there is a perpetuate check or a repetition of moves or a threefold same position we're gonna have. So
you have to say it's never been this unexciting. You have here all in one in this game. You've got, first of all, a very boring position. Secondly, you've got both players not wanting to win. And third, the match tension is also gone because Magnus is up by 3 points. So you've got like ultimately the most boring game in the World Championship match ever possible. And you are now watching it. So it's very very hard to get over that.
So then maybe I bring up another topic, NFTs. What do you know about NFTs in the chess world? Because Champions Chess Tour has created hundreds of NFTs, very nice artworks. And I know you were playing also in some tournament which was sponsored by a crypto company. So do you have NFTs yourself?
Actually, I should have one. Because I got sent one from Champions Chess Tour, one of mine, but I didn't yet have the time to, to check out where exactly it's located and so on. I mean, I know on which wallet and stuff, but still, it's. But I'm a little bit aware of what it is, but really on the surface, let's say, I know the basic story and what is the vision behind it and what are some of the potential usages for that technology. And yeah, but honestly, I'm not like very deep in that.
Yeah, we have Castle in the meantime. Well, I think it's something very interesting in the chess world that starting from Queen's Gambit, it was such a tsunami on the world regarding chess. And there are so many other fields who are getting involved in chess, and chess gets involved to new opportunities. I have my first NFT which just came out, and we're going to go on the auction with it from tomorrow. And actually it's artwork about commemorate my game against Kasparov, and I won against him in 2002 when we played Russia against the rest of the world. And this was kind of a crucial game, of course, in my career. And I teamed up with Barabashi Lab, who is a data scientist and a friend of mine. And actually, who is going to be the owner of this artwork is going to have not only owning this artwork, but also get the opportunity to play against me, which I don't do very often. But also there is a surprise NFT, which the person going to be receiving from the chesschamp.oi, I think, the website. And there are hundreds and thousands of NFTs regarding chess. And also they are going to be making special NFTs of the moment of the World Championship match, which is running right now, and we are in game 10. What do you think? Which are the moments of the World Championship match which is going to be the moments of the match, which could be very special NFT artworks to be minted?
Yeah, it's exciting. Good question. There's so many interesting highlights. I mean, immediately you think, of course, of all the resulting the games that end with the result, because those are on the surface there. Besides that, there was something in every game, but I guess the game 2 kind of stood out. Jan had his chances there, and yeah, of course, game 6 is yeah, it's a work of art on its own. So that was something special, and yeah, I don't want to kind of be nasty, but I don't know, chess blunders is kind of good thing that you can immortalize by uploading it to a blockchain. So that's also always possible. But yeah, many exciting moments in this match. I'm hoping we might get to see some more later in the match. We still have a point for, even if this game is drawn, we still have a point for Magnus to score. So still some highlights maybe yet to come.
You have to pick one move from the whole World Championship so far out of the first 9 games. The move of the World Championship match. Which one, or can you name one move which you said, this was something that it has to be graved in stone?
Well, I don't know about graved in stone, but if I have to pick the best move of the match, let me think, because I think we have to go to game 6, then for sure. And then I personally think there was a moment in the game with Rook Knight, 2 pawns against the Queen, where Magnus played move King F2 after Queen A5. And I think, yeah, if you have to choose a move of the match, from Magnus' perspective, that must have been the one, probably, because it's the one that essentially brought him the win. Finding that regroup, bringing the knight to G3 and the king across from E3, from the center to the king side, around by G2 and H3. Yeah, that was really a beautiful piece of chess understanding. So probably that was the move. It's not too spectacular. I think that game was not about one spectacular move. It was about the overall grinding.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm curious, actually, which will be the artworks from the World Championship match, which, of course, when we talk about an NFT, it can be anything. It can be a merge of videos, of expression. Sometimes it's the movie itself. It's sometimes the commentary to it. Maybe it's going to be some question from the press conference. So there are a lot of different ways of creating. And as far as I understand on NFTs, it's growing from day by day, and it's a very special community. And I do hope that it will give a special touch for chess, because I think there are so many historic moments which can be remembered, and it could be a very nice way of showing it. So I think it's also something very nice that chess has completely different dimensions to connect to the outside world, which is outreach of chess. And so we'll see of that. But actually, you know, I got to know that from game 6, where Magnus had a rook, knight, 2 pawns against the queen, which is objectively is a draw, there was a game between Mais and Polugayevsky in 87, which was practically almost the same. It's only that Magnus had pawns on the E and the F file, and Polugayevsky had played with black, reverse colors, and he had F and G pawns.
Oh, but that's very different. Yeah, I mean, rook on E2. Okay, sorry, yeah. What? Rook takes 1. Yeah, that's very different. I mean, if it was C and B pawns, that would be the same. But F and G, sorry, D. I mean, yeah, C and B is same as F and G, but F and E is the same as D and C. So a little bit of a different endgame there, of course.
But of course, the Polugayevsky won with the rook and knight and 2 pawns. I think it's almost impossible to save that.
It's much easier to push with FG, right? I guess. because you've got less space for the queen to check on the other side, or not sure. Have to think about it. Yeah.
But actually, in this position, we started to talk about the interesting stuff. They played castle in the meantime. Also, black went castle, bishop d3, rook e8, rook e1. It seems like they are really heading to simplify the position. And I doubt that we're going to be seeing some spectacular today.
No, not much spectacularities here. In that one game where Magnus played this this kind of structure, sort of with an ambition to maybe press Fabi a little bit against Fabiano Caruana with an equal score in the match, there something happened because both players were very tense, and both players tried to to use their chances in that match. It was a bit different.
You mean the game where eventually Fabiano played c5, opened up, and that's very interesting. What was it, game 9 maybe?
Much earlier, I thought. But in that game, Fabi even got a winning position at some point. And yeah, it was definitely an exciting game.
That was
Here,
actually
it's
very
different.
nicely played game. But we are seeing simplification. Kind of, it seems that you were absolutely right with your prediction that Jan comes here, he wants to show that if I want to draw, that's not a problem for me. I just can't beat you because I blundered when I wanted to sharpen things, right?
Yeah, Jan always finds a way to have his pride intact, and that's important for the player.
He spent so far 10 minutes, and we are already at move 16. Magnus was spending nearly 45 minutes up to this point, but of course time does not really matter because, well, white played g3 is a very logical continuation. He wants to bring his knight to g2 and
trade these bishops. Yeah, trade these
trading
bishops
on f4. Yeah,
absolutely.
What's the best way of for black to react on g3 and bishop knight g2? Rook e8, knight g2. Let's say, what about bishop h3? Or then bishop f4, and it's
bishop g2, bishop d6. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and maybe it's better not to go this way for black.
No, it's not necessary. The thing about the trade of bishops, okay, it's in reality, of course, the fact that black has a worse bishop is not too relevant. It's such a minor factor. And there's only one pawn so-called weakness on d5, which is actually not even weakness because I can play c6 and protect it. That this is very, very minor advantage for white is, yeah, it's basically, it can be discounted. So even if I play rook e8, knight g2, c6, bishop f4, bishop takes f4, bishop takes f4, knight takes f4.
Also possible here, g5 is possible, maybe, but also king e8, king going to d6.
Yeah, but even if I get that, yeah, exactly. King can come to d6 very nicely, bishop on d7. I have, despite, the one advantage of having this bad bishop is that it doesn't occupy d6 square, so I have space on d6 for my king. So my king is a bit more active than the white king on d2.
What do you think about in this position to go rook e8? This is what I go, rook e8, knight g2, bishop g4. So with the idea that if bishop f4, I just take bishop f3. So to be unpleasant. Actually, even bishop f3 is not possible. What about playing g5?
Knight g2.
Okay, no, I go bishop f3, sorry. I go bishop f3 just to make little inconvenience in your camp.
Yeah, but again, you are trying to make something of the position, but this is not the intent of the players.
I just want to have my pieces correct.
Yeah, okay.
And not to allow you to improve your.
No, it's possible to make any position interesting if you really want, if both sides really want. But if both of them don't want, it's also not going to happen. But yeah, it's possible to try and.
But it's only move 20. They have to make another 20 moves.
Yeah, but it goes very fast once you trade stuff. It goes very, very fast. The rest of the moves can be done in
event g6.
A second.
The idea is after knight g2, he wants to go knight h5. Don't you think so?
Yeah, and then he wants to bring his own knight to g7.
Having similar ideas. And today, Jan will not blunder.
No. It's different mindset, and that's very, very important. With with what kind of mindset are you playing a position? So
Yes,
so far,
this is something very important. So I'm asking you, if you go to a tournament, what was your mindset, for example, when you went to the candidates? What is your strategy when you play in the candidates? 14 games, very long, very tough.
yeah, I have to say I'm one of the players who doesn't differentiate too much, between these things. Jan is a different kind of player. So for Jan, when he plays for a win, or basically today is his artificial mindset. Yeah, it's not his natural mindset to play like that. Today he really forces himself to do that. Usually when I play my games, I try to just look for chances, and if I get them, I get very excited, and then I try to make something of them.
G2 is on the board. But it's interesting whether, how many chess players on the top, let's say Aronian, Maxim Vachilev, top guys, if they go for a tournament, they go there that they want to win, or they go there that they want to play a good tournament? Because I was asked many times when I was going to a tournament that, of course, you wanted to win, right? That's why you went there. And I said, well, I wanted to go there. I knew that it's going to be tough, interesting. I wanted to play good. Do you see on the top, how do you go to a tournament that you definitely want, or even some people were saying before, I remember that I want to make +2, I want to make +3.
Yeah, but how does it really impact the process? +2. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it doesn't matter what you say. Like, at the end of the day, the result is made out of your decisions, yeah, your process and the factors that are around you, outside factors, and not really made out of your desire for a particular score. I mean, okay, if your desire for a particular score means that you take a certain decision, then I understand. But I am just, I don't know. I mean, the fact that, yeah, that you want to win the tournament is relevant when it's the last round. You play with the black pieces, and you have the option, at some point to, I don't know, to play the Petrov or to play the Nairov. Then, then we will find out whether you play for a tournament victory or not. But before the tournament, you can say what you want in an interview, yeah. But it's, I don't think many top players now they think about it. I think even Magnus doesn't think about it. I think he focuses on. I think Magnus focuses on the process. I don't think he focuses on the result, because the result is something that is influenced also by circumstances. So it's kind of hard to actually be a professional athlete in chess, especially in chess, and focus on the result, because it's just such an irresponsible thing to do, because the result is also, is also created by your opponent and his moves. So it's kind of very strange to work very hard and then focus on something that's outside of your control. It's just inconsistent.
You know what? I have a short video from Magnus about his childhood. And after that, when we see that, I have a few questions to you, I think, regarding your growing up.
It was a dream my wife and I had for many years, that we could both homeschool the children and take them on a road trip. And we tried to travel in the footpaths of civilization, basically from Crete to Greece and north, Rome, etc. This we were able to do in 2003 and 2004. It coincided well with work situation, and it also was a huge possibility for Magnus to focus mainly on chess for a year.
It was really strange, like the last day of school before summer, saying bye to your friends, not expecting to see them again that fall, but being away for a whole year, and just packing up the car, having our boxes full of school books. And I remember driving onto the ferry, going to Denmark, and that kind of felt like now the adventure is starting. And then like the first night or so we spent in Germany, which was not very exciting, but then then we got to warmer places like further south in Europe. And then we were like, oh, this was supposed to be super fun, but we had a car where there was no air conditioning in the back seats, and you could not take the windows down there, so it was super hot, 3 cranky kids sitting back there. And so the beginning was kind of not that much fun. But then when we got to the chess tournaments and we had like a longer period staying somewhere, then it was really nice. It was like a really great experience. I'm so happy my parents did that for us.
What's your best memories from this year?
Probably from Dubrovnik. I really like that. What I do recall with fondness from back then is like how little it took to be happy. We didn't really expect too much. We certainly lived off a budget, and I remember also like finding an internet cafe and playing some Blitz online after not having had internet for a month or so. That was also pretty cool.
How did you see him sort of develop as a chess player during this year?
Well, he was an IM when we left, and then he struggled a bit in the autumn trying to reach GM or take GM norms. That turned out to be difficult for some months, but then we had a month break in Norway mainly after he played a tournament in Budapest end November, early December, until now Tata Steel in Vakanse in Holland. And during that month, it seemed that everything he had learned during the autumn matured in a way.
It became really big when we were in Iceland in 2004 and he played Kasparov and Karpov.
Garry Kasparov was ranked #1 in the world. Magnus somehow tricked him in the opening.
This boy had a hell of a talent.
I remember that it was super nice swimming outside in the swimming pools in March, and I even got a tan, which I thought was fantastic. It was so weird with all the media. It was the first time I think we experienced that the pressure was so high from outside. Dad was getting more and more excited when he played against Kasparov, and we were like, oh my God, is he actually not losing? Even though I was not that old myself, it was weird seeing this very little guy standing next to all those big guys, experienced chess players.
I think the effect on me as a chess player cannot be understated. I had the chance to play a lot of tournaments and also not to think about too many other things. It's probably the year where I made the biggest leap. After that year was over, I was a grandmaster, and I sort of made my breakthrough.
What an interesting journey Magnus had when he was young, and the whole family went for 1 year out of school, homeschooling and traveling, so to give the opportunity to Magnus to improve his chess. How did you grow up, Anish? At the age of 10, 12, when did you know actually that you want to be a professional chess player?
Yeah, the professional part was that wasn't decided until very far. We were traveling a lot as well, but not really like traveling like Magnus did, but more like moving. Moving is the word. Yeah, we were moving a lot. So we lived in Russia for many years, my family. And then we also lived in Japan for quite a few years, on and off, coming back to Russia sometimes and going back to Japan. And then we moved to Holland finally, to the Netherlands. And yeah, I played chess not throughout the whole period equally passionately. I started off very, very quickly in my first year when I was 7. Until I was 8, I made a lot of progress. And then in Japan, I didn't do that much of chess until at some point I discovered that you can play online. And that was quite something. I started playing online a lot and improved a lot because of that. And then already when I was back to Russia, yeah, well, I took chess again very, very seriously. And in Holland, yeah, I matured as a player. So that was that was how it was for me.
How old were you exactly when you moved to the Netherlands?
It was 2008, so I was 13.
13. Yeah, I remember when we played in Hogeveen. I'm not
Oh,
sure
yes.
pronouncing it properly.
Yeah, it was a fun
But
tournament.
that was the first event when I saw you and met you and played with you. And it was very clear that you were extremely talented. I remember people were telling me, yeah, this guy, he's very strong. And of course, you made flourish the Dutch chess life. And you have many youngsters, followers after you, right? Since then.
I have to say Holland is much less, how to say, currently much less rewarding the young talents, because here, you know, there are so many other good opportunities in Holland with studying and other careers that many young players, they choose not to play professionally. So I can't really say that Holland is going to be as great a superpower in chess as Russia or China or India,
well,
or many other.
Not superpower, but you have simply great talents, 15, 16, 17-year-olds. And
we have a couple of talents, I think, which was more, I'm not sure if that has much to do with it being Holland, but of course there is some ground here. Yeah, you've got some culture, you've got some great players. You've got a world champion, Max Euwe, and some other top players that have come from Holland. And we still have a Vikings tournament, which is huge, and many children and families follow that tournament very closely, and that could also be sort of inspiration for the kids to play. And in general, chess is a relatively known sport here. Again, not like in some other countries where it's doing better, but also not like countries where it's doing worse. So yeah, definitely some chess culture here. I don't think right now the chess is on the rise here. I mean, there have probably been better times, but still there's always a possibility. I think what many people don't realize is that, okay, they think in terms of, you know, normal job is kind of secure or whatever, but it's all relative, as you know, and especially in Holland, a country with such good social security, almost any job is not going to leave you on the street. Yeah. So in that sense, people who are passionate about chess, they're really privileged in that they're able to do what they love. And I see many young players all over the world who choose not to play chess, not to follow their passion, but then finally realizing as they grow up and mature, reassessing the values in life and coming back to chess. So that's also there. So I think maybe we'll see more players. Currently, we have some good young players. We have Jordan van Foreest. He's already matured into a top player of sorts. And also Max was the broadcast. Max Warmerdam became a grandmaster recently, and also showing good results. So we have some players. We even fought for some high spots in the European Team Championship that finished just before World Championship match. So kind of some bright spots on the chess map of Holland.
Are you being recognized on the street or whenever you go?
Yeah, I have to say I'm being recognized on some streets, but not in Holland. In Holland, very rarely. Only when I get on TV, and for some reason, Dutch media thinks the Vikings is the center of chess universe. So there is even more attention to Vikings than to this match, I think, which is kind of funny. But other than Vikings, they don't follow anything else. No, so sometimes in February I'm recognized for a couple of weeks. But usually people's memory for random faces on TV lasts for 3 weeks, and then they forget.
Well, yeah, I always liked very much to play in Holland because of the tradition. And it was, for me, it was very funny because when I made my first grandmaster norm back in 1989, you were not even born at that time. It was very strange for me that I was playing in the tournament, and from round to round there were more and bigger crowd. And then after a few rounds, then people were like pointing me at some places that, she's the one.
Yeah, I think, you know, there's some kind of a couple of lost generations there. Like you got a lot of fans, chess fans from the Fischer-Spassky boom. And then you have now, at some point, you had the wave of the chess and schools projects that started taking off. And so maybe at some point the generation will grow up. And now you've got some younger players, or younger people following chess because of the online things as well. The streaming, a lot of youngsters are watching the streamers. So I noticed some young chess fans in Holland as well. So slowly that generation kind of gaps are being filled, and there are more and more chess fans. Because at some point in Holland, like by, I don't know, in year like 2010 or something, or 2015, we had only very, very old chess fans. Like I would be only recognized by people that were at their prime in during this Pasky Fischer times, you know, and and some very, very small children who started picking up chess in schools, and all the ages in between just were oblivious to chess. I'm quite by the thinking, because I think Magnus is getting some thoughts about this position. He's seeing some potential, because after g4, knight g7, you do finally secure that f4 square for your pieces, while the bishop on d3, the bishop on e6 is not going to be. Yeah, I'm not sure about bishop f4. So bishop f4, I'm wondering what about takes and g5. You could also start with another move. Yeah, because here black maybe resolves his issues very directly. I don't know, with f5, h5 and all that.
He did not go to, he went king f2.
There is no rush. There is no rush. If knight g7, now I go bishop f4. Bishop f4, knight f4. You cannot go bishop f5 because of d5 pawn. And if you go g5 here, with the pawn on g3, it's a bit safer for white. So I can just drop back to g2 with the knight.
After knight e6, black would be capturing with the rook.
Maybe this also is a little something for white, or not really. Probably not really. Yeah, but I don't know. Is Magnus playing for advantage or not?
So after g4 now.
But why not knight g7, h4, let's say? Why not h4, let's say?
h5.
h5, sorry. No, h3, h3. That's why I go h3, yeah. I don't want to give control over the f5 square. I go h3, yeah.
This
Let's
is very
h5.
understandable.
h5 anyway, or not? Yeah, maybe I can go bishop g5 or something. Maybe I don't need to go bishop f4, because bishop f4, as soon as I do...
I'm going to take and play f5. Or is it too much?
Well, we'll think, because fg, bishop g6, rook f8, yeah. So I have to make some move first. I don't know, you knight on g7.
But okay, after h3, what do you really want here, right? It's like playing for, okay, I go bishop d7.
Yeah, I want to develop the bishop to g5. No, I don't want to trade because of taking g5. So I want to, let's say bishop h6, bishop h6.
Okay, I go f6, okay?
f6. Did I go bishop h6 anyway?
Okay.
With g5, it will probably backfire.
Bishop c8, let's say.
Yeah, let's see.
So you want to go h4 or something?
Yeah, h4, rook h1, h5, but then you have g5, and then I maybe take an h6, knight e3. Difficult. Yeah, but it's yeah, probably not. So I was just asking the question whether Magnus is playing for advantage or not, or still not. Because at some point, you know, he doesn't play for advantage, of course, but at some point, maybe Jan starts making inaccurate moves, and then Magnus, just without even wanting to, gets a small advantage. That's possible. Because when Jan went g6 there on move 17, he no longer wants to trade bishops. g6 is really a sign that you want to stop it with knight h5, yeah? Or if you want to trade bishops, you want to trade your own as well with knight g7, bishop f5. Instead of g6, he could have gone for the other plan, yeah? Like we said, this rook e8, knight g2, the slightly passive one.
But white can play this. Yeah, I wanted to go bishop g4, actually.
Yeah, but bishop g4 was one thing, but also, I mean, you could go, let's say, king f8. The passive
he could
plan.
go f3
yeah,
anyway,
let's say king f8, yeah. I don't know if bishop f5 was there or not, but let's say not. King
but
f8.
you know, Magnus is progressing here. He went g4, knight g7. He's going h4, h3.
h4 is h5, yeah? So maybe h3.
Yes.
Yeah, what I meant to say is that
No, he just went bishop f4.
But what about taking g5 now? This I don't see why white is better. I was trying to find it, but I didn't see it.
So after knight g2,
f5? Yeah, I didn't see. h3, h5, and I was trying something there. Maybe I have something. But
yes, okay, but instead of h5, f4 is also could be.
Yeah, the rook e1? Not clear.
You might be regrouping your
exactly,
knight somehow.
exactly 91. Yeah, it's a kind of a question, you know, what your knight is doing actually, because mine at least has a potential square on e5. What the g7 knight is doing, that is a much
because
more
I
important
cannot
question.
regroup my knight, only you can regroup your knight.
Well, I have actually, I mean, okay, I have a pawn on f3, so yeah, it is asymmetric. Yeah? It's not like I'm being here.
Okay, he went bishop f4, knight f4. I think he will not play g5.
He has to if he wants
Why?
to.
What happens if he just goes back bishop d7?
h4?
Knight e6.
Yes, you cannot do all that. The question that I have is why did you place the pawn on g6 in the first place? Because you've placed the pawn on the dark on the light color, the color of your bishop. You created this precedent sort of for you know, you created another weakness. Okay, that was this d5, that's not even a weakness. You created this pawn on g6, and what for? The cleanest way to draw would have been to just not go g6 and h5, just let him go bishop f4, take on f4, give him this 0-15 or whatever he wants, and say, okay, enjoy your 0-15. Yeah, here. Okay, let's play rook e8, knight g2, or rook f3 probably he'll go. f3, king f8, knight g2, c6, just for argument's sake. Bishop f4, king e7 is more accurate, or even, but even let's say take on f4, knight f4, yeah, and then take on e6, king d6, yeah, this. King e7, king d6, bishop
yes,
d7.
probably h4,
yeah, king d6,
g4,
g5. Yeah,
okay, king f2.
Yeah, I have to be a bit.
I mean, it's like pressing a little
yeah,
bit,
a little,
right?
yeah. Wait a second.
g5 is on
how
the
much
board.
you're pressing? I don't know, honestly, but knight g8, knight e7 maybe. But yeah, you're knight h5. Yeah, you're pressing a bit somehow.
No, but he goes g5, as you said.
Yeah, but what about the 5h5? Why not? So I planned to go knight g2 f5. I missed f4 idea.
Maybe actually knight e2 is better. But anyway, you go f5, right?
Knight e2 maybe, yeah. Yeah, knight e2 may be better, yeah. Because now after h5, you have some ideas of gf, rook g1. Winning the...
Okay, so probably black just goes...
So why don't I go gf, move earlier then? Bishop f5. No, but wait, and then takes... Rook g1,
h6,
f4, knight d6. Knight d6 is very nice. Well, okay, you'll manage, yeah. But I thought, let's say fg, knight e4, king e1, hg, h4, and then you will collect the pawn after, I don't know, something. Or rook e6, rook g6, let's say you just collect the pawn if you want to collect it. Just to show, well, I don't have a next move either with white, but let's say just to show that this is there as well. But also I don't have a next move with
So now
white.
The question is for white, whether is he going to be capturing on e6, which most likely he's not. Would you be taking
knight takes
e6
e6 now. Knight comes to f4 now. Rook e1, of course,
you have
you have.
your white square pawns on the...
Yeah, but knight on f4 is very nice. But you have rook e1.
Yeah, that's what I do.
h6, bishop f5, and you get rid of the knight.
Well, okay, so what's the big deal, right? King g7.
No, I mean, white is not going to be worse, yeah. But yeah, you're never going to be worse anyway. But at least, yeah, I thought black maybe can try to get knight on f4. Knight e6 is also possible, actually, if you want to draw. But
so the question is, after g5, where he's going to bring back his knight, to e2 or g2?
But why he played bishop f4? Couldn't he do something smart there?
Because as you said, they both want to make a draw today.
Yeah, he wants to make a draw just finally. Yeah. But maybe there's also nothing. But I thought maybe some h3, some kind of clever move to try to maintain that tension, and the fact that the pawn on g4 restricts the bishop on e6 and knight on g7, while I have bishop f4 option always. But maybe f5, h5 anyway were options. But I don't know, a little bit sus. f5, bishop h6. This is how it gets worse, no? These positions. Maybe he missed something, Magnus. Maybe he missed something. I don't think he...
Well, okay, so I go back with the bishop, let's say.
Is he okay, by the way, Magnus? The cameraman is a little bit also... It's hard to tell if Magnus is not straight or... Yeah, I'm also not straight actually, so let me sit up straight. Just to give example to the players.
Now it's a question which direction he goes.
Yeah, I don't like it's a pity. Somehow I feel pity for my f4 f5 squares somehow with the bishop f4.
That with white it's simply.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like the change of the position. I thought on move 22 there was something. Looks very nice. Looks simply very nice. He missed something. That's why he's thinking now. Did he miss g5? It's obvious. Like even I was.
Maybe.
Even I was thinking about g5. Maybe he missed something down the line. He calculated something like maybe knight e2 f5. He missed it. Gf is not working or something like that.
Actually, f5 is not even necessary. I mean, I just go back bishop c8.
h4.
h6.
Rook h1, let's say. Slightly active here, slightly active, but I don't know if it's enough or something. But this is okay. This could get maybe take knight g3. So I don't know. I'm entering somewhere with some pieces, but not very impressive, but still.
Yeah, probably after f6 takes 6, rook h6.
Bishop g6 also is a move to make sure the king stays passive. Bishop g6, knight g3. Yeah, I'm not sure about rook h6 that I needed that move at all. No, this I don't want to. Yeah, I'm not sure I needed the rook h6 to push a king out. I thought I could just go knight g3 or bishop g6 first. Bishop g6 maybe. To actually, I want to keep the king somehow closed. Knight g3, let's say. You have to be aware of rook e1 now with rook on f8. Rook e1, I switched and enter on e7.
Okay, this could be something.
Yeah, he missed I think he missed the 5 gf that it doesn't work. He missed this knight d6 move, I think. Maybe. Or maybe he just didn't even look for anything. Because if you do allow me this h4, knight g3, maybe I'm happy, yeah? A little bit.
Yeah, it's forced. Actually, here rook f8 is also.
Rook f8? Is it? Let's think.
Sorry?
Rook f8, king e1, knight h4.
Knight h4.
Rook g3.
Rook f5.
Knight f5 back also is there. Rook f5, yeah. Oh,
king f7.
Oh, yeah. King h7, very nice. Yeah. Actually, I'm trying to get worse with white. Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. Sorry. Yeah, I have to bring the king back to e3 instead and just hope.
Well, let's see what he wants. So after f5, he has to go h3, I think.
Yeah.
F5 is on the board.
Yeah, h3, of course, yeah. Yeah, that was the plan. I don't know why I went gf. No, h3 was the plan. Now after h5, this thing works. King f7, okay.
So can white go maybe
rook h1? Yeah, rook g1, I'm not sure what I do if you just protect h6 or something.
f4 I wanted. King g6, king f6.
Yes, exactly, king f6. I'm lacking resources to put the pressure. I need the knight on f3, not on e2.
Well, it's not going to be there for some time.
No, so I don't think there's anything here. Why not maybe rook h1 instead of rook g1?
If rook h1, I thought h5.
Yes, and that's what I was thinking about. There's some interesting things here, like h4 or gh, h4. I was still thinking. No, this maybe not. No, this is probably not. This is g4.
G6.
This is g4, yeah?
And takes knight g3, knight f4, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, it's continuous. Yeah, I don't know what's this position. Bishop c2. How is this assessed? Who is better
Shouldn't
here?
be so bad for black.
No, it cannot be. But I don't know if white is on the good side or not. Yeah, not so impressive. Can we go back after h5? Rook h1, h5. Interesting position. Let me think. What about h4 first?
h4. What if I just take f takes g4?
Yeah, hg I have to go.
Takes on f3.
Yeah, knight f4 maybe. Maybe I'm putting some pressure here. I don't know. Bishop f5. I'll take rook h5. Yeah.
Yeah, bishop f5 I cannot go, and now you're threatening with bg6.
I have a feeling that it happened somehow by accident. Yeah, like it was okay all the way. You can go hg. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but anyway, you go h3.
Yeah, that was the plan. Yes.
And
Yeah, even
then-
knight f4. Even knight f4 first.
Yeah. No, that's a huge
Very
advantage.
pretty. Yeah, this is actually big. This could
Okay,
actually
so
be big.
h5, h4 is can be tough. So what about g takes?
You know, you can go fg, hg, bishop f5. Set a trap there. gh, I have g5, huh? And f4 and knight g1, knight f3, and just collect everything. Oh, what about the? You had something. You had some trick. Yeah, fg, bishop f5.
I see what you want. Takes p2.
Yes. Actually, you have fg instead of rook h5. That's quite nice. Now rook e2 is losing very nicely, very nicely, because king
You
e2.
see, study like stuff.
Yeah, king f3, knight h1, gh, and okay, your knight is doomed, and I have 2 pawns that are defending each other. So that's
knight
there.
is trapped.
So you after fg, you cannot take on e2. Instead, you should go hg yourself. But then you're fine, very fine, or not? Yeah, knight f4, but
Rook
knight f4. Yeah. Worst case, king g7. Rook e4 is nice. Nice, yeah, I guess so.
Which better?
Yeah, exactly. I'm not so sure at all. Like it could also backfire for white, this risky business.
It can be easily.
Yeah, I think
Black
gf will
is
happen.
better.
Gf, bishop f5, knight f5, rook g1, h. But that actually was rook f8. Yeah, no, Magnus should be careful also not to simplify into a draw in some stupid way. That's certainly his worst. What about h4 right away? By the way, here in starting position after f5. No, right away.
One moment. I want to ask one question. What about this?
Knight h5.
f4.
Oh, this is a nice question. It is not only the question, I think it's also the answer. White's better yeah, here. Rook g8, maybe I have to try. h3, yeah,
h3.
He's keeping the guy a little bit on his chair. Keeping the tension.
Now rook g1, g4.
But this is nice for after ag rook g4, what?
Either way, I think. What if I take back?
Yeah, I'm having difficulty to smoke out that knight from h5. But rook h1 maybe here. Or you have g3 and bishop g4.
Yeah. That was the plan?
Yeah, it's an interesting position. Rook h4. And then I don't have next move, yeah? Yeah.
Yes.
Literally took song. I could also be worse. Because I like
this
moves.
Is what we started the show, right? With a beautiful composition.
Yeah, let's not how do we land here even?
But isn't it a Zugzwang?
Yeah, this is Tuzan. Yeah. We should go back. This is losing for white, maybe. I don't know.
It's bad news for white.
Okay, maybe some king g1 with bishop f3.
After h3, king f7 is played on the board.
Yeah, I'm curious. Sometimes Magnus, the thing is that, you know, even if he doesn't want to do anything, it's just his hand makes moves and they're very good.
H4?
Yeah. I wanted to ask you that question already. On a previous move, what was his last move?
King f7.
White's last move. I wanted to ask
so.
Here h4. It made more sense with king still.
But after that, no, but the f file is a problematic,
Hg,
you know?
I don't know. f4? Knight h5?
Knight h5,
King g3?
king g3.
Rook g, yeah. g3?
g3, king f3. That's the problem. What about rook?
And then back, yeah? King.
And I'm back too.
Yeah, and you're back. Rook f1, g3, yeah. Okay, white should probably not overpush in such positions.
So he went h3, king f7. And then the question is rook g1, rook h1. So what about the h4 now? It's symmetrical, it's equalish, but some tension. Is it h6?
h4 now. h6 is possible, of course. Yeah, it's actually good enough. I maintain the tension, and g4 pawn is now that needs protection now. So maybe h4, yeah, the easiest is to just go h6. Doesn't look like h4 is the way.
What about f4? Now takes on g4.
Four. Well, first of all, again, you've got h6.
Sorry, h6?
You again have h6 if you want, yeah, but maybe something else as well. Hard to believe, yeah, that this was white playing for advantage after f4. Fg also, I don't know, so many options. Okay, what if you just try to go knight g3, try to force f4?
I will.
Yeah, because you did it even without me forcing, so it is not surprising. Yeah, it feels very sad to force it like that. So let's go back for a second. No, I don't see how white's going to press for advantage. This rook h1 move I liked, yeah, the most. But then after h5, maybe there was something. Was there something here?
We took and h4 we were looking.
What about take and f4? What did you do? Yeah, but rook g8 fg, yeah? Why
rook g8?
Fg?
Takes.
Okay, let's see here.
King f3?
One second. Maybe, yeah, I just want to see 1 second. Because I have here some potential for something.
You want knight g1, knight f4, bishop f1.
Yeah, like Karpov.
Powerful play, and then knight f3.
Yeah, like Karpov, exactly. But knight g3 after knight g1 bothered me much more.
And knight e4.
For example, yeah. Yeah, I need like my d3 bishop. If it was on f3, I would be really, really happy. But it's very hard to reshuffle my pieces here the way they are. So okay, let's make this move king f3 for now.
King f3.
King on e3 was
no
also
threat, really,
okay.
Right?
No, that was the issue with the move, yeah. This bishop on d3 somehow doesn't. I cannot see how to where I can regroup
okay,
it ever.
king f6.
Yeah, my pieces, they cannot...
Well, you can go to G1.
Yeah, I can, but it's not a big winning try, no? Take some king G5,
King
F4.
G5.
I mean, white can make a draw however I want, but I don't think it's more. Knight e2, I can play knight e4.
Even rook H1.
Yeah, that was also the move that I proposed, yeah? But H5 now, but after H5?
Well, this is the question. Does black have other move than H5? Let's say king F6. Is it worse or better?
Yeah, you can play another move as well, but H5 is really asking that question to white, yeah? So another move allows me a little room for breathing. Maybe some H4. King F6, maybe some H4 I can play.
But what is H4? I take FG.
HG.
Takes.
But it's much better version of these things. F4.
F4. Mm.
Then rook H6 check.
And knight G3, right?
Or rook H7 first, maybe. Yeah, I mean, this is like a dream come true for me,
yeah,
compared to what I have.
So black can go wrong.
Yeah, okay, but King F6 is a very strange move. Instead, H5, yeah, it's really, really tempting. Yeah, and now white has to deliver somehow, find something, but something that I didn't see.
After H5, what are the alternatives? We were discussing G takes H5 or H4. Right? This is the only two.
Yeah, but other moves are also not really challenging. Yeah, there's some kind of F4 move, but I don't think it's here. You don't want to trade the bishops, yeah, light squared bishops with white without achieving anything.
So after F4, what happens?
F4. Yeah, I thought FG.
FG, right? Takes.
But this is very, I mean, this is, can there be anything? I mean, this looks very comfortable for black.
Bishop F5, for example, takes rook E4.
Yeah, this feels fine.
Okay, this is okay for black, I think.
For sure.
So the question is after H5, whether G8 or H4. H4.
Well, I think the closest to something, to me, look this GHF4. It looks very pretty for a second. GH, no, this we found some. No, this is good. I mean GH and GH5 instead of H4, because H4 we found an antidote, right? For it was this takes and Bishop F5, right?
But here black can go here.
But then F4 as well. This I'm happy, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I think knight H5 is a better move, trying to control the F4 square. And then I liked your suggestion of F4 because H4 was G4, I guess, or what? Oh, H6. H6. Yeah, but that's how it sometimes starts getting worse. Yeah, you don't play H5. That's kind of step one.
This is again was a crucial point, I think, of the game. One crucial point again, where to play H5 or not to play H5.
Yeah, at the same time, it actually might be a very decent move, H6, because I don't see how to make any progress at all.
Yes.
I'm thinking knight G3, but then you go king F6. Because F4 and knight E2 back.
Knight G3, you can go F4.
Yeah, but I go knight E2 now. And I get my H4 move, and then you get all these issues you had before. Okay, you have to go here, H5, try something desperate. H4. But then even H4, HG, HG. Yeah, king F6, okay. But it's very shaky. HG, king G5, GH, knight H5, rook G1 check, and it's just kind of falling apart. King F6 and bishop G6, and wins the pawn at least. on h5 and knight f4. So this is not it. But after knight g3, I don't think you go f4. I think you go king f6.
There, here.
Yeah, I thought you go king f6. Yeah. It's hard to make progress.
Yeah, it's a good fortress kind of story.
I'm not able to apply any more pressure here because yeah, I've already applied.
So after rook a1, you already go f4?
Let's see. Yeah, that was the thing I was wondering. Yeah, the rook e1 is the only continuation, and now, well, if you go f4 now, it's better than the other position, but it's still a question. Knight e2, h5, yeah. Yeah, maybe it's okay.
Yes, because for white to regroup his knight on e5, it takes
knight c1. What if I just ignore the king side? I go knight c1.
And even if you have a knight on e5, nothing happens.
Not really. Yeah, not really. But ag, yeah, fg. Let's say. Ah, okay, ag. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to get.
Let's say I just go here. What does white want?
I can also get worse, of course, if I endlessly play for win like this.
Yeah,
maybe ag I should go, I think. You didn't have to rush with ag either. Okay, if you do ag rook h1, you have to beware of rook h1. So maybe rook h8. Yeah, and now maybe bishop f1 or something. It starts to get risky that I put my pieces so ugly. But okay, let's see if I get the knight on e5.
But what can white do even if you get to e5?
Yeah, I don't know. Knight d3. I honestly don't know what I want. Also, you get some c5 moves, 96. I mean, you can also get better, yeah, with black.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I forget this idea. I don't want it with white. No, this I never wanted it. Yeah, that's why I said that I don't like rook e1. Yeah, no, I think it's okay. King f6 is just a draw. Yeah.
Yeah, I think white should be playing h4 f4. That's the only break.
Yeah, and then try to change everything, and that's it. Can I ask one question? What about knight g3, king f6? h4.
And what's the idea?
8g.
I can go king takes.
Yeah, I was just briefly wondering about f4, rook h6.
No, it shouldn't be the case.
Yeah, kind of in the mating net there, though.
Incredible. So let's say rook f8, you want to go rook g6, and I
just next move is just mate in 2, yeah, literally. There's just nothing to do.
Wow. Crazy. What an idea.
Yeah, kind of funny, no? Is it just winning or what?
It seems so.
Yeah, it could be winning.
Wow. Very nice.
Yeah, you have to then go ag, and then
yes.
Yeah, and that's it. Yeah. Okay, rook h6 check. Rook g6. King f8 probably just rook g5 gf. King f7. Yeah, king f8 is easier, I guess. Rook g5 gf, and it's just draw. Yeah, this was what would have happened. But a nice trap there.
f4 he went.
Yeah, he just wants to play it safe. Trade all the pawns.
So what's happening now? F takes g4.
But then you, 8g, rook h6. I have intermezzo, bishop g6 check. Bishop f5, yeah. Takes rook h7, though, is a question. No, this is I don't know. Gets a bit double-edged, yeah.
I'm not sure it's going to be a big deal, to be honest.
Yeah, if you play knight g7, it's not. Yeah, I was just thinking about sacrificing the pawns on some g4 to k3. I don't know.
Okay, nothing. Draw.
This looks like there's nothing. Knight on g7 is gonna come back into the game. Yeah, so maybe that's the line that they calculate.
So this is a forced story, right?
Just forced draw.
Takes.
Yeah, there is one important line to show.
Possible
Yeah, because there's one important line after bishop f5 that if you take on f5, knight f5, if you try to be cheeky with rook h5, you get again this famous fork.
Yeah. And knight g3.
Yeah, I think it's a forced draw.
Actually, it is a forced story. There is no other move.
Yeah, that's what I also think. The only point to think is after rook h7, knight g7. That's where you can start thinking, but it's really late because it's already simplified.
What about f5?
King f6.
Knight g3.
I was thinking about it. Yeah. Oh, you threatened rook h6 check actually.
Yes, yes.
You have a threat. Oh yeah. No, then this is then something. I mean, I'll still hold the rook endgame with knight f5, I guess, but it's not so comfortable. How difficult is that, by the way? It's very easy, no? It's very easy, yeah, probably. Let's think. Let's say okay, a5. Let's start. Very big margin, no? Probably here.
Sorry?
Very big margin for a draw probably here, no? Or not?
Well, I think it should be a draw.
But it's not the cleanest, maybe, yeah, from start.
It's on the board.
What if black just goes king f6 now?
Now?
Yeah.
King f6. Also seems to be pretty stable, though you're not threatening with anything, right? So your king is not necessarily.
No, that's the problem. That,
maybe h4. Maybe h4.
GF wins the pawn, no?
Yeah, g5 does not work. Well, it seems like white is going nowhere. So now the question is that fg is also, we think that it's a draw, but also king f6, just to sit and wait and keep the tension.
Mm-hmm.
What about rook g1? No threat, you just go bishop c8.
Yeah, but also black doesn't have a threat, I guess. Just stand, rook h2, rook h1, bishop z7, bishop c8. But maybe black, bishop b6, c5, maybe you can try. But it's, of course, yeah, you can start to oppress. b6, maybe I go b4. Don't know.
Yeah, pouring his homemade coffee or tea.
Homemade tea, probably, yeah.
What do you drink? Tea, coffee, or juice during the game?
I rarely drink tea during the game. I drink tea a lot in my spare time, but during games, water mostly water. I think I try to play it safe, because once you drink some juice, you have to kind of monitor all the sugar business. And I'm not like I know about the sugar business a little bit, not too much. So I'm kind of careful with all that. So if I don't really take a lot of sugar without checking that up front. So usually just water. Sometimes tea only if I have a lot of time and I have very clear position that I know what I'm doing. then I take the T, because T kind of relaxes me a bit, so I'm afraid to get into relaxed mode too early.
What about food? Do you eat food during the game?
Oh, you played FG, interesting.
FG.
Food. Yeah, this rook endgame is we're gonna get, yeah, maybe or not. Well, food is, I have to say that when I played, my body suppresses the hunger mostly. So I don't really feel so hungry. And by the way, how did that line happen? King G8, no, I had after F5. How did that line even happen? Take, rook H7. How did that line occur that you were showing?
You went back to knight G7.
Yes, and where is the endgame? F5, King G8 simply.
F5, King G8.
Simply King G8, yeah, I just had a blank.
This is the position we are having actually.
Yeah, no, it's just going to be a draw. Yes, I'm not really hungry during games, but after the games is when I eat. I compensate fully. Yeah, F5 King G8 is a very important detail, making sure that there is nothing to talk about in this game.
You know what can be interesting also? I excuse us for a technical problem, but we are back. Not much have happened in the game, but white went back rook h3 and black took on g5. So rook g3 check. This is what we were discussing previously with Anish. And I'm expecting somehow making a repetition of moves because we have 4 pawns on the queen side, 4 against 4, 1 pair of rooks and the knight. So both players seems to be kind of ready and happy with the draw in this game, I believe. We have King B7 played.
Quick repetition there, or a trade of, yeah, maybe trade of everything.
Knight F4. So now white wants to regroup his knight somehow through G6 to E5, centralize it. It's a nice idea. So let's say, how does black go here? King D6. Knight G6.
Is that happening or not?
No, I'm just asking if, but something like this will happen because black cannot stop knight G6, right?
He's going to G6, okay. Yeah, no, I just thought that they are looking for a way to...
And let's say knight F5 is not possible to knight D5. King D6.
No, because you have to somehow, because you cannot offer a draw, you have to find a way to make it. So I think that's what they're busy with.
You know what? He's going to be regrouping his knight to E5, and when my knight is on E5, I like my position with white.
Oh, that's very, very nice.
Knight G6, knight E6, let's say knight E5. C5, right?
If you want to play for win, then C5, yeah.
No, I don't want to play for win.
If you want to defend, you can also play rook E7, let's say. Can go very passive, king C7.
Okay, rook F6.
King C7, knight G6, yeah?
Knight G6, rook E8, rook F7.
Yeah, king D6 and rook F... sorry, king C B6, or I don't know, somewhere. And then rook F8 is also there. Yeah, the thing is you're always trying to create life in that position. But they're trying to make a draw, so it's just very different.
I'm just going further. That
but they don't want to play further.
Better than yours.
They just don't want to play further. They're done. Wait, why not 96? 95, rook F8, just trade rooks?
No, but after this I go rook F7, you go rook G8.
No, yeah, but you actually didn't go. You already went...
Oh, but for example, here is a nice mate to blunder.
Ah, nice.
Okay, even nice. Now you can go knight G5.
Okay, but yeah, actually knight G5 is fully okay. Okay, knight G6 played.
So what do you do? Knight E6, rook F7.
Oh, that line that you showed kind of held, yeah? I mean, rook J.
Okay, so you want to save it with this way, knight G5.
Yeah, yeah. Magnus style. to just
precise.
To show precision in the position with dead draw, suddenly make like only moves.
I still wonder about his technique of yesterday with taking the G3 pawn.
Yeah, that was great, yeah. Okay, if I want to go passive, yeah, I can go 96, rook f7. What if I just go passive, like some 98 or something, yeah? If I don't want to make a draw, like move like
Okay,
with the one strong move.
Page 7.
Yeah.
I go to page 7. You go to e6, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Knight e5.
Rook e7, yeah.
Yes, I have to admit that this is okay.
There's like very little going on, yeah, because it's kind of nice to have the knight on d5 versus knight on d8. If we had a pair of pawns on the king side, let's say, that would be very nice. But with 4 against 4 and one wing, the side that is passive, you can go into full passivity, and there are just very little resources. There's no resources to exert pressure. So that having an advantage of knight, better knight, is just kind of irrelevant, unfortunately.
Yes. Well, he went rook e6, knight e5.
And rook e7, 96, yeah, maybe.
He can also go knight e8 and rook f6.
Yeah. I mean, there is a billion ways of making a draw. Billion ways.
This is exactly what Jan should have done in game 8 and still be in the match. Just having 1 point down, that would be not the same as now, for sure. It was a little bit too late, maybe, to change on his tactics.
For Jan, no, definitely. Definitely, two days too late. Because, you know, same situation with 2 more points would have been much, and 2 more games to go would have been much better. But yeah, that's always easy in hindsight. You always learn in hindsight, and you'll never realize when you have a bad situation that it could be much worse. And that's, you know, that's normal.
98 is on the board. So
you have to also be optimistic, of course. You have to be optimistic when you play a world championship match. You have to hope for a win in every game and so on. But it
okay,
just backfired.
So white played rook f7. They are going to be exchanging the rooks. And just within a move or two, they are going to agree to draw. If we are reaching to move 40, just after rook f6, knight f6, move 40. Who is going to be offering the draw? This is the question. Or they just look at each other and that will be the story.
I think they will just find a way to repeat moves and then shake hands. At this point, I think it's kind of strange to start playing hard to get when you are like 3 points difference in the match.
Draw, game 10, draw. With little excitement, though. We had some interesting lines at some point, but kind of both players were ready for a draw and ready for a free day for tomorrow before game 11. And there should be, in principle, we have 14 games in the World Championship match happening in Dubai right now during the Expo 2020. But so far, Magnus made a huge lead up to now, having 3 points ahead. And right now it's 6.5, 3.5 to Magnus. Magnus has to reach out 1 more point to stay the world champion and have the crown on his head for the 5th time. 1 point away, still 4 games to go. So let's see what is it going to be. We are going to see also some of the first thoughts after the game of Magnus, as we always do. Let's see what he's going to be saying, but I don't think there is going to be too much excitement that what he was thinking about the game. Maybe it can be asked whether was he thinking at all in the very beginning in the move 8, where we were discussing that actually that was the first crucial moment. Later on, we didn't have so many critical moments in this game. Actually, that was the critical moment for opening point of view, I believe.
Yeah. Of course, he was thinking, but he will say that, yeah, he was in the mood to play. He already said it, basically, that he had the same situation before, and he did that as well. So nothing new, just a repetition of the same.
The first one asking is NRK, if I see, or from Norwegian. I don't know if we hear that or not yet. We apologize if sometimes Magnus or someone is talking and we are talking.
Were you surprised to see a Petrov?
Yeah, I didn't particularly think he would do that, but I guess he was in damage limitation mode at this point.
And the move knight c6 looked like a new one. Is that something you were familiar with?
Yeah, it was a bit surprising because I thought this move order was not supposed to be that good. But I guess you have to play bishop e3 in order to try and do something against it, and I was not in the mood for that. So yeah, I guess it was all right. And yeah, after c3, it's pretty boring.
Yeah, and it looked like the kind of game where both players are fine with the draw. Would that be a reasonable summary?
Sure, but I was certainly a little bit better at some points. But maybe I was a bit rash in playing g4 and bishop f4. Maybe I needed to like put the bishop on h6 or something instead and be a little bit more patient, because I thought I had a really tiny edge at that point.
All right, thank you.
So there were the first thoughts of Magnus right after the game. We could see him being very tired, and of course he has all the reasons to be tired, though it is not because of today's game, because today it was not a very difficult game for Magnus. Both players somehow they wanted to have a solid game. Tomorrow is a free day. What are they going to be doing? Of course, for Magnus, it must be also very challenging to keep himself calm, as if he wins the next game with the black pieces, he stays the world champion. What do you think, Anish, what we are going to be seeing in the next game when Jan is going to be playing with white? What mindset he can go into that game 11?
I think the mindset has now changed from going all out for a win, which clearly didn't work, to trying to really restrain yourself and show everyone, mostly himself, his opponent, but also everyone, that he's capable of playing good chess. And to show, that the match could have been different. I don't think he can rescue the match at this point, but he can still play a good game. And I hope for him he gets to press with the white pieces, without taking crazy risks, and maybe Magnus will somehow stumble himself, but I don't see that coming. I somehow feel that the match is likely to end with 2 more draws, and that's just it. It will just have a sort of a restrained end. I think Jan's attempts to really go all in, there have been too many of them, and they've just failed.
Well, this will be a huge question, what Jan will have in mind, how to play, right? He played in the previous game, he started out with c4, and it seemed to be a good decision and a good way of approach for that situation. Unfortunately for him, it did not work out. It was an interesting game though. With the middle game, they went into an end game, but then a huge blunder came in, and nobody understood. He can't understand something like this, that it could happen, what happened in game 9 just yesterday. But let's see what he's going to be playing. I can't imagine that he would be playing e4, can you?
Yeah, I can imagine that for sure. I can imagine one e4 happening. Good move. Again, I think the mindset is different. I think the mindset is no longer, it's not about winning. It's about playing well. You play well in your comfort zone, in something you've done all your life. E4 is his home ground, home territory.
Yes.
And
yes, but okay, if we see another Rai Lopez Spanish, you don't have so much space to make it interesting, exciting. It's going to be positional. And I think he wants a little bit more than that, or he wants, like in game 9, it was after c4. Already after a few moves, it was interesting. Magnus had to make decisions. In a Rai Lopez, he's going to be flashing out the moves first, 14, 15 moves. He understands the structure so well. What can really go wrong for Magnus also in a Rai Lopez? If he doesn't want to force things, he just wants to play solid, and he's ready even to play passive, as he did. Which game was it? 5 maybe, where he went knight e8. He was just ready to go passive, and
well, only the patience, Magnus's patience is probably wearing thin. He's clearly winning this match, but he has to sit there, make the moves, go through these formalities. So compared to round 5, when he was fully in the tension, I suspect Magnus's tension is slowly dropping as well, and his patience is also slowly dropping. But again, the same with Jan, of course. And I just said it is possible that he can play e4. I mean, anybody can play e4. It's okay. It's not the wildest predictions I've ever made. But we'll see. We'll see. There. In any case, I think that's going to be an exciting game. I think it's going to be a fun game, an interesting one. Today, understandably, yeah, it was very quiet.
Yeah, this match it was very interesting from the very beginning. If we go back a little bit in time, what mindset we had before the match? We thought that, okay, it's Magnus who is the favorite, but with Jan, he played so well in the candidates, and he has such a good preparation, strong team. And then he started out the game, and he went from one game to another. He had opportunity in game 2, 3, 4, 5. And then after game 5, something happened. Do you think he got over optimistic that now everything is okay and now it's time to punch, even with the black pieces?
Yeah, it was a combination of factors. I think he got tired, and he lost his guard. He was in general optimistic. There was no reason for him, he thought, to be not optimistic. He also felt that he's very well prepared because he's worked very hard. But of course, yeah, chess is brutal, and hard work is paying off in the long run, not always in the short run. So I think, yeah, over-optimism and lack of energy, that's a bad combination.
Do you think in game 6, he was already losing this sense of danger? That was one of the problem, or that was not the problem?
In general, Jan is a player that doesn't have the highest setting zone for the sense of danger. He is the kind of guy, but it's fine. He's, for example, if he was in a situation where he has to win the match, his hand wouldn't tremble. You know, he is the kind of guy who takes victory for granted and is able to take it as such. So that's okay. I mean, you know, you have some qualities, and you know, and so have to sacrifice elsewhere. We've just seen the bad sides of Jan. We might see a good side of Jan in the future one day. So nothing to over dramatize. But this match is not his.
Yes, this is, I think, one of the most difficult things. Also in a tournament, do you have any special way of treating a bad situation? Let's say you lose the game badly. How do you get over on that?
Yeah, it's hard, but an important thing is to accept certain things, accept reality, and to keep doing the routine, keep doing your things that are important, like stay healthy, eat well, sleep well, and prepare well as well. So no matter what's going on, just stick to doing the right things, because it sucks to lose, but it's even worse to lose and then also have a bad night of sleep. That's just not helpful. It's counterproductive.
You have a bad night's sleep if you lose sometimes?
No, not really. No, in general, I I don't get like a whole night disturbed. I can get slightly for an hour, maybe I can struggle to sleep, let's say. But honestly, I recall more struggling with sleep. Not like, just for an hour or something, when I'm doing well as well, because there's all emotions, positive and negative. It's just not easy to overcome.
Yes, it's today we had game 10, and maybe we can just make a summary of the moves until we are going to be seeing the players who are right now taking a short trip from the exhibition center to the media center.
I mean, the problem with the moves today is that there was not a point when either player wanted to play for a win and they both wanted to make a draw, and then two players of such high class like Jan and Magnus and Jan, they find each other. So Jan played his prep, Magnus deviated with knight d3, then Jan mixed up the move order with knight c6 on move 7, which Magnus wasn't sure is a mix-up or a prep. Then he chose safety with c3 over bishop e3. And after that, the course of the game was went undisturbed, and they just, for 1 second, I thought maybe Magnus is getting somewhere after this g4 move.
Okay, so this was everybody castled, improved the bishop play, rook e8, rook e1, simplifying pieces. It was already very suspicious that we are heading to the draw, but the players are not able to agree to draw before move 40. g3, it was a regrouping of white's knight, rook e8, and here it started to be interesting how Magnus developed his pieces. King f2 is very stable, and around here it started to become interesting, because, for example,
it was earlier. I think the interesting moment was before bishop f4. This is where I was most excited for white. Yeah, H4. After bishop f4, take g5, I think the intrigue was mostly gone for me, but I thought h3 was interesting. And then we're keeping that tension, not allowing g5, and the pawn on g4 restricts black knight on g7, restricts the e6 bishop. So it feels like white has potential to be slightly better. And there's no need to trade bishops just yet. I can play bishop f4 at any moment, and for now maybe I go bishop h6 first. Don't know, bishop g5. And okay, black has to decide whether he goes for f5, h5 or not, but some questions can be asked.
Yes, maybe we can say that if the match situation would be not what it is, that's 3 points ahead for Magnus, maybe he would be trying h3 and trying to get little squeezing black.
For sure,
don't you think so?
For sure. Yeah, for sure. I just don't think he was too eager. He wants to just sit tight now. He won 3 games. That's more than enough. He just wants to be solid with white, solid with black, and
but in this position, for example, we can say that if black has no time for g5, white could play h4 maybe and make a little pressure over black.
Exactly, but chess is a game of a tempo, so g5 is there.
g5, and then black was a very energetic, playing f5, king f7, and after that he just played solidly h6. He wanted to keep the position, not to give any weaknesses, any concrete things with h5. And then there went on to the simplification, just in a few moves where the bishops were exchanged. So everything got deleted, demolished on the king's side, nothing left here. And just in a few moves, they also exchanged the rooks, which made them in this way, that it was an exchange of rooks. And of course, this game, they understood that they don't want to move on, and they were allowed by the rules to offer a draw in move 41. And well, we can say maybe that this game was the least interesting out of the 10 games.
Yeah, I think not only in content, but in terms of intrigue. It was very early clear that both sides just want to make a draw, and they have different reasons. Magnus has good reasons, Jan has sad reasons. But he still has very valid reasons to do so. So yeah, there were some other games where the draw was not very exciting. One especially I recall, the one in the Magnus was black in the Marshall. A couple were pretty solid, couple of games were solid, but there was the much intrigue. Today it kind of wasn't there. So in that sense, yeah, today was relatively tenseless game, and I think we still have 1 or 2 exciting games to finish this match off. Let's see. I remember Kramnik Anand, where Kramnik got somehow destroyed. It was just very unfortunate for him. He got into all kinds of prep of Vishy Anand, and he also blundered a few things. It was just a very unfortunate match for him. But Kramnik actually did pull off a win towards the end. It no longer saved the match, but in a similar situation, I think it was identical situation, something like that. Basically, he won that white game that he had. And he had some theoretical hope, but he never came back anymore. Yeah, now maybe Jan can do the same. That would be great if he manages to win a game.
We are getting near to end of the year, and it's still going to be the Rapid and the Blitz World Championship, as far as I know. I hope I'm correct. Are you going to be playing there?
It's actually funny. Just now there is the news that it has to move from Kazakhstan, the World Rapid and Blitz, because of the COVID restrictions. So it's actually, we're about to find out what's going to happen to that tournament. Hopefully it will still take place. And Magnus and Jan maybe will also take part there. Both excellent Rapid and Blitz players. Now we are seeing the press conference, so I guess it's time to leave.
Yeah, so I think we want to say thank you very much for our audience, because when it starts, we are just going to say goodbye. Thank you for joining us. I do hope that you still enjoyed today and all the other days, which were more interesting. We were here with Anish. We tried to give the insights of the position exactly. Hope you're also learning a bit of the structures, and you can benefit out of it in your own games and improving all the time. So we see Magnus also coming and taking his seat and ready for the next 15 to 20 minutes press conference. So all the best, Sid.
Thank you, guys.
Photographers, please stay out of the way of the cameras in the back. And for those asking questions, make sure you leave your mask on and do not touch the microphones at the side of the room. My first question will be for you, Jan. Some speculated that given the fact that you were in the situation you were in the match, that maybe you might play a bit more sharply, if you will, with the black pieces. What was your strategy coming into the game?
No, I mean, the problem that basically playing as black, you don't have such a big choice. And I mean, especially it's classical, even if you play so-called sharp opening, like Sicilian, if white wants to shut it down, white surely will shut it down. So that's, not realistic. Anyway, I have a couple of white pieces, a couple of tries in the remaining 4 games. And I mean, of course, it depends on what would I produce in 11th game. But today was just, was just an idea to play a normal game, try not to blunder something in one move. Yeah, so I had some more realistic tasks.
You've only got, like you said, 4 games left. With 3 games, you have to catch up for 3 points, a 3-point deficit.
I know.
Your strategy is still heavily trying to win this match?
Well, that's an absurd question.
Okay. You were at the board seemingly a lot more today than usual. What was the reason for that?
I guess the chair is more comfortable than sofa, yeah. But I mean, actually, today's game, yeah, was more or less obvious that it won't, last too long. But wasn't a big difference where to sit.
Magnus, draw, great result for you?
Yeah. At this point, there's so few games to go that any draw is, it's an excellent result.
Your choice of knight d3 in the opening instead of knight f3, what motivated that?
Mainly the prospects of getting the queens off very soon and getting a dry position.
So can I assume that for you now, it's just shut it all down and get out of here?
I very much assume he's gonna try and win, especially with the white pieces. But sure, any half point that I can get is great, and I think that's it's pretty obvious.
All right, I'll open the floor to reporters to ask questions. Again, use the mics on the side and be sure not to touch the microphones and always wear your mask, please.
Sagar Shah from Chessbase India. My question is to Magnus. Jan's knight c6 move in the opening, did it surprise you? It's a new move. And why did you opt for c3? And did you think of bishop e3 maybe there? It's a possibility.
Yeah, for sure. Knight c6 was a bit of a surprising move order to me. And as you said, bishop e3 is a move there. And surely the critical one. But I was just not in the mood. You know. Yeah, I think the match situation sort of explains that. Frankly, I hadn't thought about him playing the Petrov today at all. I was preparing for various sharp openings that he could play, and the thought was if he goes 1e5, then you know I'll see. I didn't think like making a draw against the Petrov would be a major issue.
Thank you.
Rune from Chess24. Question to both players. Let's start with Magnus. What was the most interesting moment or moments of the game to you?
Yeah, there wasn't that much to talk about. Fairly happy with the move g3 at some point. I kind of thought I might be getting a very slight edge at that point. And then probably I needed to be a bit more patient later on, since I was kind of hoping that after allowing this g5 to happen, that I could provoke f5, f4, maybe later on, then start pushing with h4. But it all holds very well together for black there. So there's nothing. I think if I'd played a little more patiently there, I could have had the tiniest of edges, but naturally would have hunted it for it more diligently if the match situation had been different.
Okay, thank you. And Jan?
Well, I guess it was a huge moment when White didn't go for bishop e3. Okay, you know, bishop. I mean, in the opening, yeah, there's bishop e3, g5, knight g3, or something like this. Yeah, so this would, I know, spice things up a little bit, but yeah, maybe g6 was somewhat slow, so I should have played rook e8, knight g2, bishop g4 immediately. Yeah, not to allow this structure. Yeah, with my light square bishop being restricted. But yeah, I guess after g5, f5. So I was sort of concerned about like him playing a4, e5 at first, and only then going for this g4. Yeah, but I mean, okay, after g4, f5, I didn't really see White is going for something realistic. But of course, okay, I needed to be precise, not to blunder, as I used to do before. But yeah, in general, it's, you know, not much, not a lot of excitement today.
Okay, thank you.
I think he was first, really.
Oh, please.
Hans Solbakken from NRK. Question to both players. FIDE today decided that Kazakhstan in the Christmas time, the Rapid and Bliss is cancelled for Kazakhstan. They're working with the plan B to arrange it somewhere else. What do you think about that?
Well, I believe with all this, you know, Omicron story, yeah, it's pretty, I don't know how to say. It's pretty normal, yeah, at some point that all major sporting events are being closed or postponed. So that's the reality we live in. So, I mean, of course, it's a pity, but as for me, I didn't decide yet if I would we'll have to play in World Rapid and Blitz or skip it this year if it will be held.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about that. Generally, I'm hoping to play if it's still held. Yeah. Otherwise, it's a pity, but obviously, it's not a lot you can do.
Now they're working with another plan.
Yeah, I understand.
Thank you.
Mike Klein with chess.com. My question is for Magnus. Magnus, you've not been in this situation since 2014, protecting a lead coming down to the wire. You've already explained some of your decisions today. You're normally a very uncompromising player, so did you have to be convinced of this pragmatic approach today, or did you make this decision all on your own?
No, there was some discussion in my team, but I was definitely not pushing for something. For a different approach, let's say.
Hi, this is Anna Crumling reporting from my channel, Anna Crumling. This is a question for both players. If you could only play e4 or d4 for the rest of your lives, which move of the two would you choose and why? Thank you.
Magnus?
Yeah, it's a little bit different from other questions. Thank you. I would probably go for e4. Seems like there's a little more variety there in both closed and open games. But otherwise, I'm thinking that it's probably enough theory that we have already, and it's difficult enough to get an opening advantage. So to actually be restricted to only one move would be a bit of a nightmare.
Well, I guess 100 years ago or about it, someone, I guess Rouser, thought that okay, white just wins after the first move e4. So quite something changed since then, but yeah, in general, overall, it feels like e4 is nowadays is more forcing, but at the same time, you know, I would say more fun. So let it be e4.
Okay, thank you.
Chess.com again. I'll also try my hand at a non-topical question for once. If either of you could choose any second in history to be on your current team, that is any player that's ever been alive to be on your current team, who would it be and why? Questions for both players.
Yeah.
I'm pretty satisfied with the team I have.
I'm also very satisfied with the team that I have, but maybe Kramnik in '96. He seemed to be a good second for Gary. Probably pretty annoying, but still very interesting.
Why would he be annoying?
I think that's self-explanatory.
So, Magnus, you have always been wanted to be a world champion in classical, rapid, and it's also blitz. So, my question to you is, what's your take on World Bullet over the board championship?
That sounds like a nightmare and pretty unrealistic. I think we're just not fast enough, not even close for that to be for that to be realistic. So I think speed chess in general, over the board, it's good to have increment. It makes it better.
Thank you. And I would also like to know Nepo's opinion here.
Sorry, could you please repeat?
What do you think about World Bullet Championship over the board?
Well, if only it would be held, you know, with some wooden pieces, so it would, you know, make some sense. But apart of this, playing Bullet online, I would say that there is there are quite a lot of computer games which require some nice reaction and also very, very interesting, and that's why I normally prefer these games instead of bullet games.
Thank you.
Ole Kristianstrøm, VG Norway. Question for Magnus. Is the title in classical chess more prestigious for you than Rapid and Blitz, or can you compare them?
Yeah, they're compared in the sense the classic title contest and Rapid and Blitz is so I think that question apart from that, I'm really happy that the effort has been made to organize Rapid and Blitz Championship the last few years, and it's certainly added something special to the calendar, and it's obviously very prestigious as well. Thank you.
Hans Solbakken, NRK again. Question to Magnus. What activity do you hope Magnus Barstad is preparing for you tomorrow? Paddle, basketball, football? What do you hope for?
Well, I can also choose myself, but I will tell you what my plans are for tonight. They will. I hope to see two all-time greats bust out of their respective competitions, namely Barcelona and Bent Leikvoll.
Question along a similar vein from chess.com for Magnus. You'll forgive me, my memory's not that good. In 2014 in Sochi, there was some discussion of you going around the Formula One track that was in the city. I don't know if that actually happened, but Formula One is also taking place in Abu Dhabi. Do you have any interest in going around that track?
Let's just say I've yet to be convinced about Formula One. I don't see the point. I think it's it's just not for me.
There are no more questions. Again, I guess they mean the match to start again. What would you have done differently?
I guess I would lose less and win more.
Thank you for that. That concludes the press conference. Tomorrow is a rest day. The next game will be on Friday at 16:30. Thank you, everyone, and have a great night. Welcome to the new Chess24 playing experience. Play in light mode or dark mode. Choose from a range of time controls or create a custom game and get paired with players from around the world fast. Enjoy a polished playing experience while making moves on a fresh, responsive board to claim your victories. Train and improve with over 80,000 puzzles. And that's not all. Download now and discover what more you can enjoy in our brand new app.
Okay, so let's send a challenge.
Here is challenging. Nice graphics, easy to see. What are you thinking about? You're looking how it can be the most painful?
Exactly. Okay, fine.
That I give up a phone. He wants to be even rude.
Today, more than ever, when the world comes together to create a better tomorrow.
It's going to be magic. Oh,
La magie. Magic. Magic with music.
with architecture.
With colors.
Magic with celebration.
With your safety.
From here.
There.
And everywhere.
For 6 whole months, day and night.
Join the making of a new world starting October 1st.